front row that played against Argentina with Marla and Sinclair starting. Maro Itoje, Ollie Chesson, the same locking combination. Courtney Laws, Ben Earl and Lewis Ludlam comes in for the suspended Tom Curry. Ludlam wears number 8. Alex Mitchell and George Ford at 9 and 10. Manu Tuolangi, Joe Marchant in the midfield. Elliot Daly, Johnny May and Freddie Stewart make up an unchanged back line. For Japan, it's Kaita Inagaki, Shotahori and Jiwon Gu in the front row. Jack Cornelison and Amato Fakatava in the second row. Michael Leach and Peter Labishakni in the flanker position 6 and 7. Kazuki Imeno wears 8. Yutaka Nagari at 9. Rakia Matsuda at 10. Ryota Nakamura and Tomoko Asada in the midfield. Jone Nakabula and Kataro Matsushima on the wings. Whereas Samisi Masirewa at number 15. Japan in a huddle wearing their trademark red and white hoops, England in blue. And a good evening to Chris Ashton. What are the messages in that huddle? England 1 from 1, 2 from 2. They take a major step towards the knockouts.
Yeah, we've got to start well. That's got to be the most important thing. What we've seen in this World Cup is any sort of underdog gets any sort of go forward, start well in the game, then the whole crowd will get behind them. That's the last thing we want. England need to start well, start fast, get the crowd with us.
The referee is the Georgian, Nika Amishakeli, just waiting for the go-ahead from the TV operators. And Matt Dawson, George Ford, bountiful. How key is Ford going to be tonight?
Yeah, looking forward to it, Jonesy. I think ordinarily you could say, oh, there's a lot of pressure on George Ford, but I think he's loving it. I think if you're in his position, you think, yeah, this is where I want to be. I proved it to you last week against Argentina, and we've got so much more in our locker. So up to Alex Mitchell to boss the forwards, get them dominant, and then let's watch George Ford do what he does best.
How tough is this, actually, when you've got to wait to get the go-ahead?
Yeah. Not ideal.
5 seconds.
Adds to the suspense.
It does. The crowd cannot wait. We can't wait. George Ford can't wait. England in blue tops, blue shorts, red socks. They kick from right to left, where it's taken in Japan by Japan over on the left touch side, and straight away they look for the ball carrier, Kazuki Himeno, a world-class player, the captain, the 29-year-old, winning his 30th cap for Japan. Kicked into the box by Yu Nagare, an experienced operator at 9, taken there by Freddie Stewart. Off on a run straight away. Good intent there from Stewart. Mitchell now finds Ben Earl, 10-metre line. Swing low sweet chariot around the stadium here in Nice. George Ford to Elliot Daly. Daly kicks for Marchant. That could be useful enough. Oh, it's been knocked on, has it? Real fumble in the backfield by the winger Nika Bula, and that, Chris Ashton, is a big error from Japan. Daly's kick into the dead ball area. What a chance this is going to be for England. 5-metre scrum.
Yeah, the kick from Daly just was too long. He just took it for granted there, trying to pick it up too easy, get it off the pitch, but he could have just dotted it down. It would have been a much better solution than trying to kick it off the pitch.
What a set-piece opportunity, Matt Dawson, for England. Almost 15 metres in from this left-hand touchline, 5 metres out.
Just couldn't be better. Honestly, could not be better. Set piece, don't hang around. Get the ball in, get it into Ben Earl's hands, or looks to me that Manu Tuolangi's nice and flat. No initial set piece move from England other than either drive over or give it Manu.
Manu's got to be the option here, hasn't he?
England have their whole back line resources out to the right, as Nika Amishakeli just speaks to the front rows. And yeah, Samisi Masirewa, the fullback who made that mistake, he'll be thinking, oh, what a way to start a huge test match against England.
I think this is where England have got to have their edge as well in the set piece. Yeah, they might not play away from this first one. They might just nudge, see where they sit with it, because they've got to dominate Japan in this area.
England 0, Japan 0, 2 minutes gone in Nice. 5 Live, your home of the Rugby World Cup. On the radio, on BBC Sounds, online as well. 2 minutes gone, solid England scrum. Earl digs, Freddie peels away, he finds Mitchell. What do they got? Joe Marchant's on a flat ball. He's only a metre out or so. Alex Mitchell comes to Courtney Laws, the captain. All 100+ caps of the Northampton man. Shadow off the post, underneath the crossbar, they drive on once more, England. Mitchell to the right has been knocked on. by Stewart, back for the penalty. Marchant couldn't have come much closer, Matt Dawson.
Offside.
Well, I love the initial move because we're all, and Japan are looking at Manu, who used him as a decoy, went straight across him to March and got great momentum, but I'm not sure about the decision making there. It was just a picking and going, Ashy.
He was on it wide straight away. I just don't get why we've purposely slowed it down to hit the forwards. We go straight to Fordy at the back, George Fordy at the back. We've got Freddie Stewart, Johnny May on the wing. That's where the chance is when you're getting such quick ball from Joe Marchant. You need to use it.
Well, and you've got a penalty advantage there. Let's be a little bit more creative. We've got penalty advantage. Even if George Ford had just dropped back a couple of years and gone for a nice cross-field kick there and a bit of a challenge, Johnny May on the charge up, any little option.
This is where some of it gets lost because the stadium's so loud and because you can't naturally hear each other. When you've not had that combination going, as you know, for time and time, you're not naturally looking for him.
Ford bangs over the penalty, couldn't miss from straight in front, especially the kicking form he's showing this World Cup. England do lead 3-0, but perhaps could have been more.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they'll be happy with it. It's a solid start after 4 minutes. That's the comms channel. Is it your fly half? Your fly half doesn't see the crossfield kick. It gets communicated by those outside, doesn't it? Your centre's got to be saying to Fordy, whatever the call is, get it out wide, let him do it.
Well, a little grubber restart from Matsuda, the Japanese 10, is taken in by Ben Earl. England inside their own half, 35 metres from their goal line. Courtney Laws, another big carry from the skipper. England lead by 3 on 5 Live on a sweltering evening on the Côte d'Azur.
Now use it.
As Carl Sinclair back in the starting 15, looking to recreate his form of 4 years ago when he was one of the best props in the world. Kick by Mitchell, ricochets back on the England side. Itoje finds Mitchell, who kicks again, looking to pin back the Japanese back 3 and Matsushima. He's got Masaruera with him, but Matsushima dots it down for a goal line dropout.
Yeah, really, really good kick from Alex Mitchell, on the money. Daly wins it back, but he almost hits it too much back. It goes back 5 metres and lands tomorrow. They're the kicks. When they're on the money like that, you have to make them count. We have to be expecting Elliott to get the ball back and play off it, not be surprised by it ending up going 5 metres behind us.
Goal line dropout. Rukia Matsuda. Actually, it was the fullback Masarewa who put his boot through it. Looking to recover from that early mistake that gave England field position. George Ford creeps into the Japanese half and sends up a towering up and under. Test for Matsushima's nowhere near it. Stewart does well. They've now got Freddie Stewart chasing kicks as well as receiving them, England. A tactic of the last few months. Kicked ahead again by Masarewa, the fullback for Japan. Ford scampers back inside his own 22. He'll go for the boot and for field position, and it's a nice strike. These balls are flying a long way at the World Cup. Takes England into the Japanese half. Chris Ashton.
Yes, again, Freddie gets up in the air and wins a great George Ford up and under. Again, we won it back. We've got to expect our back 3 to be winning these back. They are that good in the air. And when the kick's on the money, it's almost a 60-40 to us that they're going to get up and win it. Us not reacting, or Ben Earls reacted there and got caught, turned it over. Need to take advantage more of those situations.
Yeah, Masaruera is just staying down. He's got some heavy strapping on his right leg before the game, and when he went for that clearance, I don't know whether something pinged. He's holding his quad where he's got a strap. Looks like might be a little muscle injury there, and doesn't look good for Japan making an early substitution in the backfield.
Got good cover though, because Lemanu Lemeki, you may remember from the 2019 World Cup, started 3 of Japan's 5 matches, the 34-year-old. So real experience at the top end, but not what Jamie Joseph would have wanted, his starting fullback, Samisi Masaruewa. And it looks like he'll have to go off, and already Lemeki is coming on. So a change for Japan early on.
We might see Matsushima drop to 15 at some point. Like, he might go. I actually prefer him in that position. He's so much more of a threat. Being in the back there, you just don't know which way he's going to go. So we might see him drop to 15.
If you're just joining us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, what a win for Fiji earlier. Blowing Pool C wide open. Australia 15, Fiji 22. A brilliant result for the tournament, the jeopardy of that pool, but maybe not for Wales. who may now have to get something against Australia next Sunday to progress, even though they beat Fiji in their first game. High kick from Nagare, tester for Elliot Daly, does well, does Daly, sets it up, Jamie George in there to ruck, but the ball pretty slow, so Mitchell just going to hit up his forwards and the industrious Lewis Ludlam. But England, Matt Dawson, will go to their tactic of not playing much rugby from their own half.
Going to type, aren't they really? Going to type. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of endeavour even from those little half breaks.
Lemeki's kick, Mitchell knocks on, so a lot of kicking, a lot of knock-ons, and maybe Japan will look to put some tempo into the game. Good defence though, Ollie Chesham driving the Japanese ball carriers back. So Nagare finds Matsuda, who goes cross-field. That's nice, over to the far side, and Japan break almost up to the 10-metre line through Naikabula. Now a little kick through from Nagare. Stewart is in a spot of bother back there. He will have to clear his lines. He hooks it in field, and this is good attacking ball now for Lemanu Lemeki, who's just come on the pitch. He's got Kotaro Matsushima here. So good to see Matsushima on the ball. Hat-trick in the World Cup opener 4 years ago. He prods it through. Ford is in a bit of trouble there. Japan pouring forward on Elliot Daly and driving him out of play. And listen to the noise from the Japanese fans and the Japanese commentators to our left. They've got a good good attacking platform now as Nagare is getting involved, the experienced 9, pushing and shoving with some England players, and it will, after that little melee, be a Japanese line out just 10 metres out. England 3, Japan 0, 8 minutes gone.
Yeah, I mean, there's an obvious tactic there, isn't it? Just starting to develop from Japan with their elusive runners. Let's have a little sniff, but you know what? Let's then just grubber it down, let's turn them, and then let's get under the skin of some of those players. And Japan were doing exactly that, tackling them into touch. And then you found Nagare just giving him a little niggle, giving Daly a little niggle, as if to say, you know, was that good enough for you?
Taken in the line now by Cornelson. Now they peel around the corner. Shotahore. Good tackle coming in by Ludlam, but he got the ball away nicely. Japan only 5 minutes out. Penalty England, though. England all over that ball. Joe Marler, I think, has got it on the floor. He wins the holding on penalty. England survive, Chris Ashton.
Japan trying to be a little bit too flashy there. Too many passes. They've worked hard to get down there. A bit of a wasted opportunity, but great work from Joe Marler over the ball. He is a big man. You ain't moving him if he's over that ball like that.
I like that as well. Just keep an eye on Joe Marler after that. There was no little nudges and winks and smiles and all the fun and japes that goes with Joe Marler. It was a bit like, no, we're here to win a game today. I'm not messing about.
You like that, don't you?
I do, yeah.
England preparing for the line-outs. Time for us to go to the Davis Cup. What's happening there, Russell Fuller?
France against Great Britain in the doubles to see who qualifies for the knockout stages of the competition. France have won the first set 6-1, serve holding sway in the second, with the Great Britain pair of Dan Evans and Neil Skupski 4-3 up on serve. Thanks,
Russ. As Russ was saying, if Britain do not win that, they're out the Davis Cup. All the news from Russell Fuller as we get it from the Davis Cup tennis. As England win the ball back, a bit of kick tennis here results in England having half an opportunity as Stewart finds Laws, who's on the wide channel. He's got Daly outside. He finds Daly. Daly knocks on as England go into the 22. So decent ground made by England before Elliot Daly loses the ball.
Another great kick from George Ford. It's working. So keep sending it up there. Just Johnny Mays won another one back, which gave us a nice attack, and it was just good to see George call for the ball early and shift it does.
Corney's got to give that early though, isn't he? If you're a winger there, you're thinking, oh, don't run my space out there, Courtney, please don't. It's quite lateral, and you know, a lot of what England are talking about is they're going to put these layer of attacks in.
Coming on the gap.
But actually it can't be lateral. There's got to be an angle, there's got to be a decoy, there's got to be a draw and pass, something.
Yeah. But I suppose the positive is that we have got shape. There is something to go to. Courtney's out there, Elliot's out here. We haven't seen that in the past few weeks. We just haven't seen it. So it's just nice to see. Kyle Sinker's in there, throwing the ball, moving it behind. We haven't seen that either. So it's just refreshing.
England gave a free kick away at the line now, so Japan have cleared almost up to the halfway line. The assistant has got an arm out as if it's a Japanese line out, but it's not. It's England's because it was a free kick. So the mistake has been corrected by referee Amisha Kelly, and it will be an England line out What a vantage point we've got here, Ashley. Right, we are right above this Jamie George line, and we couldn't be better poised as we tower over the halfway line.
Yeah, let's not waste it, hey, Joseph.
Good ball from Jamie George, finds Courtney Laws. At the front, England set up the maul in their blue. England 3, Japan 0. 11 minutes gone on 5 Live from the BBC. Crabbing forward methodically, slowly. Not an enormous amount of speed to this maul, but it's pretty well set, and it will give England a platform to go to their attacking structure. Still it's moving. 6-7 metres here, Matt Dawson.
Off the leg, good, yeah.
Yeah, very steady, very controlled. Ball available at the moment. Backs are poised, ready for Manu to come crashing in, but you got ball going forward like that. It's prime. It's prime. Mitchell screaming for it. Seeing what's going to happen. It's got to come now, and it's got to come.
Still moving forward. You heard the England fans get excited. Now Mitchell snipes to the right. Had half a gap there, Mitchell. It's been picked up by Japan as England's move broke down. Lavashakni's in to support. Nagari might have numbers here, Japan. Over on the far side, they attack through Naikabula. Now they find the replacement Lemeki, almost up to the 22. England losing. Great set-piece opportunity. And Japan it is who skip into the 22. 3-0 down the Japanese, but another significant entry to English territory. The Damirani is Gu. Now Hori pops it up. Driving into the 22 go the Japanese forwards. They want a penalty with Ollie Chesham lying prone. But the referee says no. Great carry that from Jimeno, the number 8. Tackled by a couple of Englishmen, including George Ford. But it's still there for Japan. Set up by Fakatava in the second row. Nagare now out to Matsuda. Now another half break. The offload coming into Lavashakni, and he finds Lemeki. Lemeki's only 6 or 7 metres out. It's lightning fast ball for Nagare. Nagare finds Lavashakni, the flanker. 2 metres out, Japan. Outstanding attack from the Blossoms. Back it comes from Masuda, who goes crossfield, but he's overcooked it. They could have kept it in the hand. There was advantage though, and Japan will have a chance for 3 points, if not more.
Just scintillating rugby from Japan, but we knew it was coming. We knew from turnover ball, this is how Japan are going to play. Could you even begin to imagine how England's forwards feel, having just driven that maul 20 yards on a plate? So from one pass from Mitchell, coughed up in the midfield, they will be fuming to be now on their own line under their sticks.
Amazing attack from Japan. They almost had too many options on the left edge there. They didn't need to kick it into the space, pass it. They chose to pass, and they overran each other because the space in the backfield looks so obvious. But they have run riot there. I don't get how England got that. We've got Manu dying for the ball. We're trying to just overcomplicate it.
Okay, but why would England? Where's the benefit to that? Where England had just driven that like 20-25 metres. What are the backs thinking? Right, we're going to crash it up in the midfield when you've sucked in all the players. But they were set up to crash it into the midfield. But surely off really good driven ball, you would be thinking the opposition on the back foot. Surely there's an attack on here.
Matsuda levels the scores. Japan go for post, 3 points all.
I don't think Alex Mitchell needed to run, and that allowed the Japan defence come up, and then Manu was getting hit before he even got the ball.
I don't disagree with that, but Manu was always flat and was always going to take it up. We've been told all week how we're going to see this amazing England side, and we can't wait for an opportunity. It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Well, a feather in the cap for the John Mitchell defence. He knows this England team well, and Japan rushed up, took all of Manu Tuolangi's space, and then, does Alex Mitchell keep that as he go himself? Either way, the move broke down. Japan have levelled the scores, and now Japan from the kick-off have cleared nicely into English territory. These balls really do fly at the Rugby World Cup. And Jamie George will prepare to throw into the line-out, and England just needs to recover, because then, as you were saying, Matt Dawson, a great maul, and it's ended with Japan leveling the scores at 3 points all as Jamie George prepares to throw in.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a break here. I think Labuschagne maybe's had a knock standing on the 22. He was holding a certain part of his body that looked very painful.
Well, he was instrumental in that attack, carried the ball 2 or 3 times, and, well, we know about Matsuda. He was the backup 10 in 2019. Now he's getting a chance to run the side and dangerous on the gain line. Plenty of warning signs for England here in Nice. 15 minutes gone. England 3, Japan 3 in Pool D. Jamie George on his own 10-metre line. He's got some world-class line-out operators, but England go early out the line-out, so that's been spotted by Nika Amishakeli, and Michael Leach taps and goes. And look, Japan clearly want to play with a bit of pace and tempo. There was a big collision there on Leach, but Japan continue to attack. Centre field, 30 metres out. Digging for it is Nagare. Got a few forwards, but a little bit on the static side. Shotahori drives on. Matsuda wants it to the left, but instead they go to the right. And Himeno, who always makes a few metres. This is good from Japan. Nagare prods it through. Nicely done, turning England around. England throw into their own line out 5 metres out.
Every time I watch the Japanese scrum half Nagare, he is like a buzzing bee. He's everywhere. He's been everything a bit. The energy that Japan have had so far. I don't know who gets these rucks so fast. You weren't that fast, Doss, were you?
No, sorry, mate, I got distracted. Just saw a replay there of Ben Earl making a high tackle there. I mean,
well, the aforementioned Ben Earl does take the line out. England going over the top. It's a brave strategy, but it pays off because it took out all the Japan jumpers in the line out. England are deep in their own territory. They lead, well, they did lead 3-0. Japan have levelled it up. England 3, Japan 3. 16 minutes gone on 5 Live. Mitchell hooks it to touch. I don't think Japan will massively mind that. It gives them a line-out chance to attack, albeit a solid enough clearance from Alex Mitchell at number 9.
Sorry, yeah, Chris, on that, the scrum, you feel that is a definite ploy from Japan. Nagare just threatening the fringes, and then the go-to, if it's not on, is just go on then, prod it into the corners. You might get one that stays in a touch. It might go in there and you can apply some pressure in the line-out.
Courtney Laws gets up and he wins the line-out. Then it's been knocked on by Hori, the Japan hooker. So a little bit scrappy. But that was all because of Courtney Laws getting up to disrupt the line-out.
He has to be the fittest in the Japanese squad. Every time I see him play, he is non-stop. He comes off the pitch. He'll come off about 60 probably. Absolutely out on his feet.
He's brilliant. 5 starts for Japan on their great run in the 2019 Rugby World Cup. As you say, actually, just gets the ball away. It must be just so great to play with. If you can keep up with him, you know the ball you're getting is so quick.
You almost take it for granted. You just go and set up because you know how fast he's going to be there. You have to almost beat him to it and attack. Because he's not going to wait. He's just going to keep playing and playing and playing. And that's the Japanese way. And if we see the passes sticking like we did last time they were in the 22, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, England have been served plenty of warnings by Japan in this opening 20 minutes that even if they're not the Japan of 4 years ago, they are crammed with talent and class. But England do win that scrum penalty. They've picked Joe Marler and Carl Sinclair in the front row, and they've done the business there, and England will have the penalty and a chance to get out of their own half.
We just saw this, all right?
Oh, okay.
So this,
I think maybe the referee has decided it wasn't a penalty because the pitch is ripped up like a carpet. I think that happened last night on one of the games as well, where they gave a penalty, but the referee and fair play to him realised that there's nothing that
contest was very good, and obviously
the players could do about it.
Let's go again.
Yeah, you might be able to hear Nika Amishakeli, the Georgian referee, through his microphone, saying because the front row, all the contest was good and fair and legal, he's going to reset the scrum. So he originally gave a penalty to England, and he's shown good wherewithal to scrap that and say let's have the scrum again.
Have we spoken about Earl at 8?
No.
Earl is packing down at 8 for the scrum. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's a good ploy from England. Get the ball in and away, get some pace in the game.
Well, England are in their own half, just outside their own 22. They seldom attack from this end of the pitch. Mitchell had a bit of a blindside, but Nagare was on it. Ford kicks forward, is charged down by opposite number Matsuda, who is so nearly onto that. Mitchell gets back to save the day, but he is 3 metres from the England line. A pretty simple clearance from England, charged down by Japan and their fly half Matsuda, who was a bounce of the ball away from putting Japan in the lead in Nice. And England are struggling to get out their territory, and Mitchell has 1 foot on his own line and he hooks it down the line. Again, a decent clearance. Will Matsushima go quickly? No. Very good clearance in the circumstances, Alex Mitchell. And Japan will have the line out.
Yeah, class from Mitchell there, who was actually the one to get back just by the skin of his teeth there. Ford had plenty of time, a little bit of a snap hooky one.
Okay, lads.
Right in
we need to
to the belly of Matsuda.
Yeah. Water break.
I think he tried to go too long with it. You know, he
water
put the
break,
ball
water
too
break.
long, took too time to just snap it away. Like we say with these balls, they go so far. You're almost trying to kick the leather off it every time you're trying to hit it.
Voice of Chris Ashton. No one has scored more tries in the Premiership ever, in European Cups ever, in one season of the top 14. Actually nodding along and going, all those are factually true.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Let's hope it stays that way.
How many England tries were you just at?
Yeah, that's disappointing.
How many?
Only 20.
Oh, still decent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mind you, it's only a couple more than me, though, to be fair.
I'd swap every single try ever scored for a World Cup, though, Dos.
We're going back to a conversation at lunch on 5 Live with Steve Crossman. Taking a water break here. Let's go and check in with Russell Fuller. Crunch time for Great Britain in the Davis Cup, Russell.
Yes, Chris, and even though Great Britain have already beaten Switzerland and Australia this week, the way this group has worked out, if they lose to France, they'll be knocked out. They won't be heading to Malaga for the knockout stage of the finals. They've lost the first set of this decisive doubles rubber by 6 games to 1. Serve is still bossing the second set. It's 5 games all. Dan Evans and Neil Skupski fighting for their lives.
Nice one, Russell. That's over on the iPlayer, the Davis Cup. And just on that conversation you guys had earlier, Chris Ashton accused Matt Dawson of being a dinosaur. Matt Dawson replied...
Didn't take it very well.
No, I think he took it very well. Replied a successful dinosaur. 20 years since Matt's England team lifted that Webb Ellis Cup, which was glistening, wasn't it, in the Nice night sky. The gold trophy just down below us. Water break, if you're wondering why we've been short of action the last minute or two. 20 minutes gone, and while the weather is still hot in France, there'll be water breaks halfway through each half. And finally we're ready to go with Japan through their hooker, Shotahore, preparing to throw into the line out. They go over the top. That's nicely done. They've got their 10 onto it, though, Matsuda. Not ideal for a fly half, but it is secured ball for Japan. It's slightly slow, though, for Nagare, who thrives off quick ball. He looks to the left and finds his forwards carrying. And who else but Michael Leach comes round the corner, tackled well by Ben Earl. But there for Japan, just short of the 10-metre line. Himeno now carries. I mean, this guy always makes ground. And he's actually let the ball go 7-style and got up and kept playing it. Nagare, as Japan work the short side. That's clever. And England are offside, so penalty advantage to Japan. Nagare finds Himeno once more, the number 8. In there to help clear is Cornelson, the lock. Nagare has options. One of them is Fakatava, the second row, as Japan still have the penalty advantage. Back for Matsuda, little kick for Lemeki. Where's this one going to end up? Oh, it's going to end up in Lemeki's hands, but he's knocked on. Oh, goodness me. Stewart came forward. Lemeki was almost onto it. He then knocked on almost with the try line begging. Penalty advantage, though, and England were offside, Ben Earl. And Japan will have the penalty. It's very kickable, Matt Dawson.
It is, yeah, well within the red zone. I'll go early, and then Ashi, you can come in and maybe go, oh, okay, maybe there's something there that Dawson's talking about. I think there's a little tactic here from Japan where they're being a little bit submissive on the gain line. I don't think they're interested, particularly in the first couple of rucks. I don't think they're interested in trying to plough in and get in behind and bring in the jackal opportunity for England. They seem to be a little bit submissive. They wait so that more Japanese players can get with them, and then they create that quick ruck, and then they're going into the short side and beating Japan to the third and fourth phases.
It's a strange style of attack that we're seeing. 3 forwards, only being happy with 1 or 2 metres every time. Then they speed it up.
Matsuda, 6-3 Japan, Ashi.
And what thing I'm seeing is Freddie Stewart is almost alone in the backfield. We've got Mitchell in the line on the far side. Our wingers aren't really dropping, so the reason the kick works because Freddie's trying to cover so much space in the backfield all on his own.
What's always fascinating about Japan, whether it was Eddie Jones or Jamie Joseph, Tony Brown, John Mitchell, et al., the assistant coaches, they are so cleverly coached and they will always come up with something. Matt Dawson noticing that tactical quirk, and that is what Japan do. And Matsuda's kicking, that's gone a bit far. Ford is maybe in drop goal territory, but he will kick himself. Daly is going to trundle after that, but back goes Matsuma. Nice kick actually, Ford. That's turned Japan around. They'll have to throw into the line out just 5 metres out.
Yeah, it was the right idea from Matsuda, just a little bit long. There was plenty of space there. If it had made grass, goodness knows what would have happened. However, great response from George Ford. You can now expect England and Maro Itoje and Chesham just to mark up, put some pressure on, make Japan win it fairly.
Leach goes up, he's
go.
lost it. Yeah, good pressure, England. Ollie Chesham's on the loose ball. He is so close, a metre short. Do England have the composure now? Do they have the cutting edge to score their first try at the World Cup? Marler pops it up, the forwards drive on. They're up to the line, they're over the line. England have scored. Looks like Lewis Ludlam at the bottom. It doesn't matter how the tries come. A try has come for England, and it's Lewis Ludlam, the scorer from close range.
Yeah, again, George Ford orchestrating that from the backfield. Slightly long kick from Japan, poked back into the corner. Coffin corner, as they'd call it. Very difficult to get out of there, and Japan made a little bit of a Horlicks of it.
Yeah, great reactions from Chesham just to see the bouncing ball and get on it quickly, and England didn't hesitate. They were into it straight away. Quick tries, good to see. Japan almost trying to be too smart there on their own 5 metre line, but it doesn't matter. It gets us England on the board.
Crucial score
good, and
for England.
there was an arms tackle by number 2 White. Have a word.
Well, Joy Neville coming in to talk about a no-arms tackle to White, but seemed like she didn't want to overrule the try. So we'll just listen out for when the TMO, Joy Neville, comes in to speak to Nika Amashikeli. But the try stands. England 8, Japan 6. This is Ford for 10-6. Not missing this World Cup, is he, George Ford? England 10, Japan 6, and after that Japanese rally for the last, at least 10-15 minutes, England now have a 4-point buffer.
Yeah, it was a strange kick-off receipt from Japan, just trying to be too smart, kicking it over. If you execute the skill, then it's dangerous. But if you put it too long like they did, you're inviting a class player like George Ford just to put the pressure right back on you.
Under 15 minutes to go of this first half. We'll be hearing from World Cup winning Red Roses scrum half Natasha Hunt at half-time with Sonia. And as we've been hearing from Russell, the latest from the Davis Cup, that crucial second set in the doubles. Forward comes Freddie Stewart to take it from fullback. England through Mitchell. They've got their first World Cup try. It was all points from the boot last week in Marseille, 27-10, 27 to England, 27 to Ford. But Lewis Ludlam, who impressed as a replacement, starting, and he's got England's try to help them into a 10-6 lead. Lemeki, the replacement back three player, sends up a towering kick, asking Matsushima to take forward. Comes Stewart, who overran it, but Itoje's there. Itoje, whose line-out steal led to that try, and he powers into the Japanese half. There for Ford on the gain line. He goes to shape left and instead kicks right, and Lemeki will return that with interest, and that goes out of play around the halfway line. Again, England not with too much attacking shape, resorting to the boot.
Yeah, that's a shame for me. It's great ball on the deck, bouncing around, good turnover, broken field. I'm just expecting there to be this rush of attacking adrenaline from England, only because everyone's spoken about it during the week. I'm sort of yet to see it.
And what I'm desperate to see is the back three to want the ball and go and find it. And if you're anticipating a turnover coming, there's perfect chance to see Johnny May and Elliot Daly.
Line now goes to the tail, where Itoje can't take it cleanly, and this one has been turned over, but Ludlam is on that ball. Knocked on first though. Thought maybe Lewis Ludlam's going to win a penalty, but it's just a knock-on in the line-out by Japan, but England not quite able to get their line-out draw right as Jamie George threw to the tail. Itoje went up, but knocked on by Japan in the contest. England, Chris Ashton scrum round the halfway line on the far side.
Yeah, we've got to use this wisely. I think it's a perfect opportunity to move it wide. I doubt we're going to see it because we haven't seen too much of it, but I just want to see our fast, skillful players in the game. We're almost waiting for George to provide the perfect pass to walk in for a try. It's not going to happen. We have to go out there and want the ball and create chances. George spoke to us this week about that. He wants players to want the ball.
Crouch!
You see Manu Tuilagi looking to creep up. He's as close as he can be to the scrummage, looking like he wants to take that flat ball, quick ruck ball, and then let's see the set play.
Almost half an hour played in Nice. England 10, Japan 6 on your World Cup station. BBC 5 Live. Mitchell this time dummies, that was sensible, and there's a tackle without the ball on Tuilagi. So Tuilagi used the decoy and it's got England penalty advantage. Itoje goes over the 10-metre line, no advantage though, he rolls back for the penalty. England have another kickable chance here. Ford can take them 13-6 ahead.
Yeah, it's good to see Mitchell seeing half a gap and wanting to go, but I still would be saying to him before the scrum, mate, we need to play this one. Just get it away. Let's just have a go at them. There's a non-negotiable. Just get it away. Let's play. Let's move it wide. Let's put something on.
Yeah, there is definitely a theme here about Manu Tuilagi being the go-to person. Even without the ball, there was a decoy to Marchant early on, close to the line. There's a decoy there for Mitchell to throw the dummy and go. There's a lot of attention around Manu, but you can still do those wide plays. You don't need to be trucking it up. You use him as that decoy going forward.
George Ford, who has kicked his goals so far tonight, as he did in Marseille. This one the hardest this evening, in between the 10-metre line and the halfway, but he kicked these in his sleep in Marseille. This time he stabbed it. So George Ford misses for the first time in this Rugby World Cup. The score stays England 10, Japan 6, half an hour gone in Nice.
Yeah, I think it's been probably a little bit more competitive than I thought it was going to be. I thought England would, like the driving more, like the picking and going near the line. I would have thought they would be very much on the front foot, and then the backs would have been enabling the team to be moving at a pace, whereas it still feels a little bit Steve Borthwick, Eddie Jones type rugby, and it's working, don't get me wrong.
Well, there's Maro Itoje's scrum cap, which is strewn on the halfway line. It needs to be picked up, I think, as England send another high. Gary Owen up, ball ricochets around, kind of been the story of the game so far, but England do win that. Ludlam, and now Mitchell will kick again, and that one is straight down the throat of Lemeki. So England's kicking game not quite on point. 31 minutes into the game, and it's a penalty. Japan. Was Lemeki taken late by Johnny May? And I wonder if Chris Ashton, Johnny May has been a bystander for 31 minutes. Is that what happens when you're trying to get into the game? You make a mistake, penalty Japan. If they kick this, it's a 1-point ball game.
Yeah, it definitely does, because you're frustrated. You want to make an impact, you want to do something, and he's been all right. He's got up and he's contested his kicks in the air. I think he didn't want the kick from Mitchell, to be honest. He probably wanted him to shift it and get the ball in his hands, and then once he's kicked it, you're frustrated and you're chasing it and you just caught him too late. Silly penalty, but I do feel when we get that, we've done the hard bit, we've got George's kick back, then we need to play 1, 2, 3 phases and then kick again. Don't just go straight to it.
This is not Alex Mitchell.
No, wouldn't play this enough.
What is the point in playing Alex Mitchell? You should be playing Ben Youngs.
Do you think?
I don't get it. What's the point? That is not how he plays his rugby.
Do you think they are waiting to build, get ahead, get some confidence, get the game, and then we open up?
Well, maybe so.
Matsuda splits the posts. England 10, Japan 9.
Maybe so, but there's got to be a bit of adaptation. You have an idea how Japan are going to play, but they're playing England, so they're going to do things differently. So we have to assess, and you have to tweak and change a little bit. Alex Mitchell is a threat. He's dangerous. He gets players around him into the game. You don't want him just banging the ball down there aimlessly.
Naikabula taking it for Japan over on the far side from the Ford restart. Could have been 13-6 if Ford had kicked that goal. Instead, Japan have cut the gap to 1. England 10, Japan 9 as we edge towards half-time. Stewart running it over the halfway line. Now England have some good attacking possession. Jamie George shuffles and steps off his left boot. Good quick ball for Mitchell. Here's Ford not far from the goal line. Now that back to Daly, and then they kick. Through it goes for Marchant. This will dribble almost out of play. Across goes Naikabula. He's in trouble. Oh, good step from the Japanese winger. He may have been caught and taken out of play. He threw it in field to Matsushima, who just about set it up. So that kick from Daly did create a bit of havoc in the Japanese back three. However, they have resource possession, Japan, through Nagare, and he will kick, or will he go back to Lemeki? No, he kicks almost up to the 10-metre line. England now with a decent line out, more towards the 22 actually, and this is a good set-piece platform for England and Jamie George, Matt Dawson.
Nakamura was, I'm going to say, a little bit lucky there. I mean, that was a fairly random throw back in field, could have gone anywhere. Japan have got themselves out. They don't want another 5-metre scrum on their own line.
George Ford, flat to Tuolangi as England went quickly at the line now. That was innovative. Mitchell now to Marler. Round the corner comes the Harlequin. Slap bang in centre field for England. Benell's first receiver. There's Ford folding. But Japan have defended that really well. And Leach is onto it and he kicks. And if he'd got a decent connection, England were all at sea. But England gather it on the halfway line. Leach is in there again. He's now playing without a scrum cap. So both Leach and Itoje have disposed of their protective headgear in the heat of Nice. As Mitchell sends up another high kick, Matsushima's in no man's land, the ball bouncing everywhere. And it's been knocked on by Japan, so England will have the ball. They've got it. Courtney Laws, a bit isolated is the skipper. Can he get it away to Mitchell? Yes, he can, but Mitchell loses it. And we'll go back for the knock-on, says Nika Amashakeli. England's scrum after a scrappy little period of play.
When you were growing up playing rugby league predominantly, and probably when you went to rugby union as well, from turnovers, what was like the golden rule from turnovers?
Play what you see.
Yes, but
shift it.
Correct. That the initial reaction, move the ball, or two passes, get it away from the trouble.
I mean, that wasn't as a child. It was recently, 6 months ago. We used to spend time telling the forwards, if it's a turnover, you pass it to a back straight away. That's what we do.
Regardless of the standard, regardless of the levels. Well, the mini rugby or World Cup rugby, England not just quite able to get any pattern going, but they do lead in Nice. England 10, Japan 9. We're going to go to the Davis Cup with Russell in a moment, but let's see if England can get anything going from this attacking platform. The scrum just inside the 22. Earl, Mitchell, short to Tuolangi. Over the gain line goes the sailman. That is his want. There for Mitchell, slightly slow. Now Carl Sinclair barrels into the 22. What have England got? Marler's on the carry. They're going inch by inch here, England, through the forwards. Now Ford goes inside to Joe Marchant. Marchant loses it. Japan then knock on. 2 knock-ons. Will be Japanese scrum inside their own 22 as we go back to Manchester, the Davis Cup and Russell.
Great Britain have taken the Devils into a deciding set. Dan Evans and Neil Skupski winning the second set on a tiebreak 7-4 against Mahou and Roger Vasselin of France. So the final set of the final match of the final tie will decide which of these two countries heads to the quarterfinals in November.
Thanks so much, Russell. Over on the iPlayer for the Davis Cup and all the latest throughout the commentary here at the Rugby World Cup in Nice with Russell Fuller in Manchester. Another stoppage. Who's down there? Ashi and Matt.
Kyle Sinclair.
Looks like Sinclair, doesn't he? He's on the 22. He's getting his right ankle looked at. And we will wait to see whether that is going to curtail his evening or whether it's a little bit of cramp or something in the right leg.
It's not lost on the three of us, so listeners, don't think it's not lost on us that it is very easy from the position that we're in here, this overview of the game, of where England should be going. But too many times today we've spoken about real basic fundamentals of attack, and I find that concerning. It's not like they've got a turnover, bang bang, and giving it to Johnny Mann, he's run into touch, or do you know what I mean? Where there's been that endeavour.
Off the cuff.
Yes. No,
just what are you seeing? Oh, we've got a quick ball. Let's shift it. Let's mix it up. George Ford got smashed off the set piece previously because it was so predictable. There is no variation. We're doing exactly what we've said on the game plan and what it says for the first 3 phases. Instead of just thinking, it seems to me that we've got them on the edge constantly, but we're just not even going to it early. We're waiting.
Can England force anything from this Japanese put-in? With 3 minutes to go of this cagey first half. England 10, Japan 9. Fed by the live wire scrum half Nagare, who straight away goes to the left and Matsuda kicks, but he's overcooked it. Right, so England will have a line out here, Matt. 23-4 metres from the Japan goal line. And with 3 minutes to go off the half, what can England craft with this 1 point lead?
And it doesn't matter how much you've practiced, you've done during the week. This is a reference, probably back 15 minutes, when England drove Japan back 25 yards. This is a catch drive. England should be looking to score from a driving line out here. Is that just because you've been practicing wide attacks?
Well, can England get their line out right with this greasy ball in the niche humidity? Yes, they can. Chesham rises high, and heave is the cry from the hordes of travelling England fans around the Allianz Riviera. Advantage to England as they get them all going. Right, have they got anything with this advantage? Out to Ford, who throws a dummy and kicks through for Stewart. That will bounce up for Japan, knocked on by Japan. So back for the penalty from the line-out and the maul. And England will have a choice here between looking for a penalty to go 13-9 ahead, or with it so far towards the touchline, I imagine they'll put it into the corner.
Yeah, we've got to go corner. Just perfect opportunity. Maul's going well. Put him back under pressure. Build the score. There's the cheer.
There's the cheer from the England fans as Ford does exactly what Chris Ashton said, puts it into the corner. And with England's maul, Matt Dawson, being probably the only thing they've really got right so far tonight, what an opportunity.
Yeah, this is gilt-edged. It's not an open goal, but this is a penalty kick here. England should be scoring.
It's a Harry Kane penalty, but it's not gone in the back of the net as Jamie George peeled round and knocked on. And that's going to give good energy to the Japanese, because they've been down in their own territory for a bit. And if they can take this to half-time, what a boost it'll be for the Blossoms. England 10, Japan 9. England knocking on with a great attacking platform.
There is more than enough experience on that pitch to know that has got to be driven. Why are we playing off the back of it?
I want to know who's making that call. Who's making that call? Is that
Maro?
a peel? No,
Peel, yes, Peel.
They're not calling peels. That's a strategic move, isn't it? That's got to be a 9 or 10 saying, give me a back peel.
But if you're Maro, Courtney, you know that goes just drive over. Jamie, they all think the same.
30 seconds left of the half. England 10, Japan 9. It is on a knife edge in Nice, as Nagari will look for half-time if he can. I don't think they can quite wind down the clock with 15 seconds still to play. So Lemecki, he's a good footballer, isn't he? He sends a kick up to halfway. So England will have one more chance for points in this half, but it's nowhere near the platform they had a moment or two ago when they were throwing in 5 minutes out. It's now over 40 metres from the Japan line.
Big opportunities. And anyway, let's compare notes here from some of the rugby that we've watched. We're the England fans. We're all thinking England are going to, they're going to win the World Cup. What does South Africa do? What do Ireland do? What do New Zealand, France do? They score there.
George Ford finds Ben Earl with a good bust in centre field. Round the corner now comes Jamie George, who knocked on a moment ago, looking to avenge that mistake. He didn't have numbers to the right as they drive on once more. Therefore Mitchell, here's George Ford, Laws the dummy runner. There's Johnny May, who's come off his wing to get involved. Advantage being played by the referee, and it is offside against Japan. This one is more central, and I do think the Ford will go for goal at 10-9 to take it out of 39 with the last kick of the half.
And England will hopefully be sprinting in with a 4-point lead and take some advice. Take on the fluid, take on probably jelly babies and stuff like that these days.
Might need some.
Yeah.
Not for 1 second is Steve going to be happy that they've done a peel drive 5 metres out from the Japanese line with a minute to go. It's just so unnecessary.
Sorry, once again.
Everybody knows any successful team, you have a go first, and if it doesn't work, you'll get another penalty, or you can at least play off it. You don't do that play there.
But surely that does come from George Ford, though. I mean, and I know it's a long time ago, but the fly half traditionally would be either give it, I want the ball, or I don't want to see it. I do not want to see the ball for the next 2 minutes. Whatever it takes, I don't want to see it.
England 10, Japan 9. Ford is going for goal. Last kick of the half. Up he steps. He's got it. George Ford on the money this time. He missed his last kick. No mistake here. England 13, Japan 9. A quick word from Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton before we go back to Sonia.
Yeah, a bit frustrating. We've let Japan get in and play their game, and they'll build confidence from that. So it's unfortunate we haven't got another try with enough opportunities. Let's just hope they're not wasted in the second half.
Yeah, this is going to be a tasty half-time. Whoever gets it right, Steve Borthwick, Jamie Joseph, the next score in the second half could be absolutely crucial, because if it was a try for Japan, you feel like they just need a bit of momentum to get in the game. So, from an England perspective, they've got to just squash it straight away in this second half, get it done, penalty, drop goal, whatever it is, bang, make it 7 points, make Japan think, oh, this is an uphill struggle.
Right, Sonia, England do lead. They have scored a try, but it's in the balance. England 13, Japan 9 at the break.
Oh, and it feels like all that positivity after Marseille is just like sweet seeping away after that first 40. Look, Dawes, you've alluded to it. We saw some quality rugby over this weekend from Ireland, from South Africa, Fiji, of course. How would you describe what you just witnessed?
I think Chris Ashton mentioned the word frustrating. It is a bit frustrating because England are getting in the right position. England were playing right to left, and we are pretty much shifting our body position 45 degrees to the Japanese 22, because that's where the action was. But when you've got those types of 5-metre scrums and you have been dominant in the maul, that's not a physical mistake. It's a mental mistake. It's a decision. And how many times over the years have we wanted England to be completely at one with one another when it comes to decision making? They were pretty good last week, weren't they? And that's what we got excited about. But today they've been a little bit left wanting so far in this first half when it comes to making decisions.
Mo, what's your view on that maul that wasn't at the end there? Because if ever there was a time to go for the driving maul, it was then, 5 metres out.
100%, especially, I think the guys alluded to it in commentary, but they were so dominant with their driving maul. So the fact that you've tried to do a peel, I also don't think Jamie George was the option. He looked really confused as that ball hit him in the face. I think that was probably meant to go to Ludlam on the wrap as he came round, but just crazy decision making. And just to pick up on your point as well, Dawes, it's actually Zoe Allcroft that calls the line-outs and stuff, and she manages that area for us. So it is potentially a Maro Itoje decision. It's not necessarily on George Ford's shoulders, that one, the way that we play the game anyway. I don't know if it's the same for the England camp. Yeah.
As a decision for an actual peel, or for where the ball's going in the line-out?
No, for the peel. So for example, I'd be like, oh, what have you thought about a peel here? But she takes complete onus on that, and she runs her line-outs in whatever area we are. Obviously it's a conversation, but the line-out caller does have the lead on that, so it could potentially be a decision for her. For Itoje in that instance.
Yeah, I mean, I find that absolutely baffling. When how on earth would a second row know whether a peel is on or not?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point, but I think he gets the comms from the back of the line-out or the players around him that says it's on. Like, we could feed that in, but ultimately he'd potentially have the decision. That's just how we run it in the girls. But yeah, it's an interesting one for sure.
Ashi, England had so much clarity of thought last weekend. Almost the red card concentrated the mind, didn't it? Where do you think it's gone in this game?
We just lacked a clinical edge, and we still are refusing really to play any number of phases, which is... I get that Japan have a lot of numbers in the front line and there's not that much space, but we're never going to make space if we're not going through any phases. And our complete attitude to go maximum 3 or 4 phases and kick the ball away and hope that they just kick it back and create an opportunity, it's just not going to wash with these international teams. So I just would like to see us play a bit more off the cuff, take opportunities out wide when they're there, and not just go through the first 3-phase set piece that we've practiced all week. Just bring it to life a bit more.
Yeah, I think about a Euro, given this is a French World Cup, for every time Mo Hunt has said to me during that first 40, just don't kick it, look for the pass. I would be a rich woman. We will be back to the team in Nice for second half commentary, but first it's the news here on 5 Live with Stuart.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Channel 4 and the BBC say they will look into allegations that have been made about Russell Brand's behaviour. The Sunday Times and Channel 4's Dispatches programme have reported accusations of rape, sexual assault and emotional abuse, which are alleged to have happened between 2006 and 2013. Mr Brand denies the claims strongly. The reports also included allegations about his behaviour throughout the period during which he worked as a presenter on both BBC Radio and Channel 4. Here's our media correspondent David Silito.
Channel 4 first, they say they're appalled to learn of these allegations. Some of this behaviour is alleged to have happened on their programmes between 2004 and 2007, and they say they are determined to understand the full nature of what went on. And the BBC, of course, famously parted company with Russell Brand in a scandal about some deeply offensive answer phone messages to the actor Andrew Sachs, say they are urgently looking into the issues raised.
The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has promised a 10-point plan of action to help Italy deal with a massive increase in migration. She was speaking during a visit to the island of Lampedusa, where thousands of people arrived in small boats from North Africa this week.
Migration is a European challenge and it needs a European answer and solution. It is concrete actions that will bring change on the ground. It is only through solidarity and unity that we can achieve this. And you can count on the European Union.
A 35-year-old woman has been charged with the murder of 2 elderly people in Chelmsford. Virginia McCulloch will appear in court tomorrow. Essex police say they were called out on Wednesday after concerns were raised about the welfare of 2 people. The MP who's running Labour's general election campaign has declined to commit the party to building the HS2 high-speed railway in full if it wins the election. Pat McFadden said he wanted to build the project, but that the decision would be based on the cost of the scheme. Earlier this week, the government also declined to commit to the high-speed rail line reaching Manchester.
BBC 5 Live.
The voice of the UK.
This week, we're talking about the challenges that teenagers face that will shape our future.
Teen 23 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
The most important issue for me in 2023 is pressure to succeed, stereotyping and the cost of living crisis.
And on Wednesday, 5 Live will be at the Teen 23 Summits in Birmingham and Salford.
I'm optimistic about my future. There's a lot of opportunities. I'm excited to see how it goes.
I just want to know where I end up going.
Teen 23.
Listen all this week on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
Rugby World Cup 2023 on 5 Live Sport and BBC Sounds with Sonia McLaughlin.
Welcome back. Coming up, second half commentary of England against Japan in Nice at the Rugby World Cup, of course, with England 13-9 ahead against Japan, but really all to play for in that one. But first, let's head to Manchester. Great Britain against France has gone to a final match decider in the Davis Cup, and of course, tennis correspondent Russell Fuller is watching.
And a final set to determine the doubles and whether France or Great Britain joins 7 other teams in the knockout stage of the Davis Cup finals in Malaga in November. 1 game all, third set. Dan Evans and Neil Skupski have just seen a third break point of this game, saved by Nicolas Mahut and Edouard Roger Vasselin. So 1 set all, 1 game all after singles wins for Dan Evans against Arthur Fils and for Hugo Humbert against Cameron Norrie. Evans' second match of the day. 33 years of age, looks like he's got a lot of energy, but he is the chief orchestrator out there as well, in front of what was a 13,000 crowd at the start of the day, Sonia. He is throwing absolutely everything into this final chance to get Great Britain into the knockout stage of the finals.
Thanks, Ross. In the Premier League today, Arsenal narrowly beat Everton at Goodison Park by 1-0. Elsewhere, Bournemouth against Chelsea finished goalless. Ferrari's Carlos Sainz won the Singapore Grand Prix to stop Max Verstappen winning his 11th race on the spin. The Red Bull driver came 5th, with Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton finishing 2nd and 3rd respectively. It's the first time this season that a Red Bull driver hasn't won a race. And in snooker, Ronnie O'Sullivan has beaten Luca Bressel 11-9 for a 4th straight Shanghai Masters title. So we're going to move on to the rest of the news at the Rugby World Cup today. And earlier, Fiji, you've probably heard about it, beat Australia 22-15 to leapfrog the Wallabies into 2nd in Pool C. Australia coach Eddie Jones said his side were beaten by the better team.
Thoroughly deserved victory for Fiji. they outplayed us, particularly around the ruck. I think the turnovers they executed three times more turnovers than us, and in a close game like that, that's the difference.
17 penalties, few errors in the game, but how do you work on that? You know that next week's going to be massive.
Yeah, look, we for some reason we were just off today. If you look at the stats of the game, we dominated and we scored 2 tries to 1, but we were a poor version of ourselves today. So, there's a bit of soul searching to do, but it makes the Wales game pretty important.
For Fiji, it was history, their first win over Australia since 1954. And player of the match, Joshua Tuisova, explained what it meant to the Flying Fijians.
First of all, I just want to give back the glory and the honour to the Lord Almighty for giving us the strength and the power. I know it's a long time for us, Fiji, since back in the days. It's a history for us. I just want to thank the boys for their hard work. They give everything they got. I'll just tell them at the second half, just empty the tank, give everything they have. Just try to win this game.
And tell me about this team that you've got, this team of great special players. You work in such a fine brotherhood out there.
We have a great bond as a team. We come together and play together as a team. And winning this game is incredible.
Yeah, it was a very tense last 10 minutes, wasn't it, Mo?
It really was. I think you can just see, though, that Fiji have captivated the whole of world rugby. They're not really playing their Fiji style. They're not offloading, throwing it around, but everyone still loves them and wants them to win. And the raw emotion that came out on that final whistle was just epic.
Everyone's second favourite team, I think. Elsewhere, one other piece of news. South Africa beat Romania 76 points to 0. First team not to score a point in a match at the World Cup. And another bit of news. Springbok fly half. This is probably the least surprising news of the World Cup so far. Springbok fly half Andre Pollard will join the national team in Paris on Monday after being called into the squad after hooker Malcolm Marx was ruled out earlier this week due to a knee injury. So it's a fly half coming in for a hooker. Interesting. Now, Mo, I want to just briefly, before we go back for the second half in knees, talk to you about you, because the Red Roses are also gearing up, aren't they? Cranking up their own season. And what's really interesting is your new coach, John Mitchell, as we said at the top of the show, is in Japan as defence coach with them. So how's that working at the minute?
So we haven't actually seen Mitch yet. We've seen him on the computer screen. He's looking above the camera. We can't even see his eyes. He's looking too far up into the sky. But no, it's been awesome. He's been very involved in what he's trying to deliver. He's kind of running the whole thing as far as I'm aware, and then everyone's delivering it on the ground, and he's just overseeing it, watching training back and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure how he's doing both at the minute, but yeah, it's pretty epic to have new people in, and we'll see where we go with it.
So has he already given you a sense of the Mitchell philosophy and how the Red Roses might look under his tenure?
Yeah, 100%. I think the first day that we all met up in Chester, I think it was like the 31st of July, we had loads of Zooms from him. It wasn't even Zooms, it was just recordings of him just talking to us about his philosophy and the way that he sees the game, the way that he wants to play, and then everyone's delivering on kind of where we're going and what the outcome is, if you like, of what we're trying to go after. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because as scrum half, you had a brilliant season with Gloucester Hartbury. You won the title in the Prem 15s. Do you think that do you hope that England are now going to perhaps play a style of game that's going to suit Mo?
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
And what is his philosophy?
Yeah, so it looks like they want just loads of speed of ball, similar to how Japan are playing, speed of ball, high ball in play, run through the phases, similar to what we're witnessing today. So I'm enjoying it so far. We'll just see how long it lasts.
Yeah, because you've obviously got a huge target, which is this new competition that is going to put all eyes on the women's game. It's called Natalie called WXV, isn't it? Which is going to happen in 3 tiers. Yep. You're playing in the top tier. It's going to happen in New Zealand in October. Yeah, so how desperate are you to get on the plane for that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to count my chickens ever.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I really hope that obviously selection goes my way this time round and it's finally get out to New Zealand. So we'll see. We're just working hard, keeping my head down as normal.
Okay, yeah, because look, there he is. I wonder what it's going to be like for you, because we're just seeing John Mitchell it's Steve Borthwick, sorry, in the England dressing. I thought for a minute it was John Mitchell. Both of them are perhaps
similar
look, but that's definitely Steve Borthwick. What's Steve Borthwick saying to that lot right now, do you think?
I think he's just saying, hopefully he's saying keep the ball in hand. we've all been looking at it, but yeah, keep the ball in hand, get through your attacking phases, because at the minute there's no ball, there's no pressure.
Yeah, let's go back to the commentary team. And Chris, I'm really interested as the game about to kick off there, in your thoughts on Andre Pollard being called up by the Springboks. Bit of a risk.
A massive risk. I mean, world-class player, but they've only got one specialist hooker left. But that's the way the Rassie Erasmus box operate. They're outside the box, and we'll certainly pick that up, Sonj, on the Rugby Union Daily that will be out first thing tomorrow morning with all of our post-match thoughts from here in Nice and the other big stories of the weekend, with Pollard
stay back.
coming to the World Cup at the expense of the injured marks. As England clear their lines from the first ruck, 13-9 ahead. There's a change at tight head for Japan, with Ivali replacing Ji-won Gu. Forward comes Freddie Stewart. What can England do in this second half? They do lead, they have scored a try, but it was far from fluent in that first 40. Now they're attacking from their own half. Laws gets an offload away to Ireland. Daly's in some space on the left touchline. Mitchell's tracking inside. Good tackle, sends Daly out of play. But how about that, Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton? The first real phase of the second half from England, and the line-out's gone quickly. Japan, they have cleared their lines. Has it gone out to touch? No, it hasn't. So we'll pick that up as England through Daly and now Stewart. He whacks up a bomb towards Matsushima in his white boots, who takes it well and runs past Stewart. Tackled by Jamie George. 4 points in it in Nice, but England did, Matt Dawson, play some rugby from their own half for the first time tonight. Telling it came right after half time.
Yeah, very nice down that little short side. Hint of an overlap. And they were in.
Little kick from Nagari. 50-22's on for George Ford, because Japan had attack and we're up in the line, and Johnny May is herring after it. And Johnny May, well, nice work from the outside centre, Osada. The kick is charged. Lewis Ludlam's on the 22 for England. What an opportunity for England. Mitchell down the short side. He switches with Johnny May. May was herring after that kick from Ford and caused some problems for Japan. Here's Maro Itoje. He bounces off one man. 22 just shy for England. Mitchell digs for the ball, but it's going to be a penalty. Japan, as England hold on. England had men to the left, but they couldn't recycle, and Japan have the penalty, and Japan will go into English territory, and the score stays at 13 points to 9.
Yeah, loving this though. This is much more like it. Much better shape. People looking to get overlaps, going through the hands. The one that seems a lifetime ago now, a couple of minutes down that left-hand side, with Elliot Daly making the break, going through the hands to Courtney, to Daly. In fact, potentially, if there was a left-foot crossfield kick to Mitchell running that sort of middle tracking line, you would have been right hand up, running down the middle of the field, screaming, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's left-footed as well. It was perfect for him to just stick it in field. Yeah, I always knew if I was up the right touchline that my scrum half, mainly Wiggy, would be screaming for that kick in the midfield. But not to be. Good to see them attacking. And George Ford operates so well in tight spaces in the backfield.
To the tail it goes. Leach, nice move this from Japan as Jimeno shoveled it on, but England were live to it in centre field. Oh, they're so innovative, Japan. That's a kick over the shoulder. Oh, and it was beautifully worked, and Nakamura knocked on. The pictures Japan were throwing at England there, bewitching. And the hook kick from Nagare kind of over his own shoulder, so nearly led to Nakamura going under the post. Now Ford with a kick of his own. This might work out. Johnny May is onto it, and May's over the halfway line. The game has opened up at last in Nice. Mitchell comes to the left. He finds Joe Marchant. Marchant has Daly. The ball is loose. Daly goes inside to Mitchell. Alex Mitchell, 15 metres out or so. Ford does the rucking. Earl's a dummy half. Itoje out the back. Here's Ford in centre field, short to Stewart. He knocks on England's hands, letting them down at a crucial time. Hacked forward by Japan. It's breathless now in Nice. And Japan's kick is a good one. Elliot Daly can watch it out of play. It will be a line out to England on halfway.
How about that for a move from Japan, though, off that?
Carlos Spencer.
Oh, just such great innovation. Lovely little over-the-head kick from Nagari there. And Honestly, if that was gathered and very quickly passed to the right, Japan were under the sticks. But to credit for England, they're meeting fire with fire and they're taking them on.
Well, we put more kind of innovation and attack in the 4 minutes of the second half than we almost had in the whole first 40. England with a line-out drive now. Jamie George is tucked under his armpit. Mitchell this time goes to the sky. That looks a fraction long from Mitchell. It is. Matsushima takes it unopposed. And he sets it up just outside the 22. Next score feels crucial as Nagare, with that clever right boot of his, kicks towards officer number Mitchell. He peels out the tackle of Matsuda, and he was close to being caught there, Mitchell, but he's been tidy, hasn't he, the England number 9. Lewis Ludlam, his Northampton teammate, just short of halfway, bustles the England number 8.
Okay. No, don't collapse.
And here is the caterpillar ruck, and Mitchell is being allowed to really hook it back and gets the customary 5 seconds after being told to use it. Another kick, Matsushima up, and he takes it well. Formerly of Clermont, a world-class wing fullback. Nagare kicks, and interesting how both teams attack together, and now they're both kicking together. Mitchell wings it in field to Daly. What can he see? He looks for a 50-22 with Japan up in the line, their left winger Nakabula. It's all tricky there for Lemeki, who was all over the place, but he does get it away well. George Ford up and under. Chases after it, just starting to break up slightly. Well taken, Nakabula, and he's almost away. Couldn't quite offload to Labashakani, but it's there for Japan, who lose it forward. Sinclair has it. England through Mitchell, they kick again, and Matt Dawson just lets out a primeval cry as this one goes dead. Dawson's got his arms folded. Microphone up, please. That's pretty important. Let us know what you're thinking.
It's just so unnecessary. So unnecessary. Turnover ball. The game's broken up. It's been going for, 2-3 minutes. All over the place. A full back line waiting in Tuolangi, Stewart, Daly, Marchant. That ball gets into the midfield. They're up against all sorts.
We're on the cusp here of seeing someone break and score a screamer of a try. It's just the last pass, the kick isn't staying in. I mean, Lemeki did so well in this bottom right corner to find a 60-metre kick, and with George had no options but to go high. Yeah, we're close. We're close. The try's coming. I reckon both coaches just gave each other a nod at half-time. Went, right, let's open it up.
People have paid a lot of money for this, yeah. And there are millions watching and listening at home. But England's handling errors, I think, up to 7 now. It's greasy and slippy. You both would have played in sweltering conditions like this, but England can't quite keep hold of the ball. Japan are running it out. Matsushima over halfway, and they always make ground, don't they? Full of wit and invention, and who else is there but their number 9, Nagare. Himeno drops it, so both teams making handling errors. Lewis Ludlam with a direct carry over the 10-metre line. Then Carl Sinclair goes up the gut to the Japanese defence. That's better from England. Mitchell doesn't kick, Ford does. And across comes Lemeki, who is well positioned. We let it go, Lemeki. He needs this to go dead. It has just about. Goal line dropout.
I think they'll take a breather here, won't they? Both teams. No rush to get under the sticks and drop kick this ball back into play. Hands on hips, bent over, taking in some oxygen, because it's been fast and furious 8 minutes, that for sure. But
great attack from
really nice
from Japan off the scrum, going wide, giving Matsushima some space to run out wide, and they were almost too efficient at the ruck. They got the ball coming back in field where all England's men were too efficiently, if that is ever possible. Drop goal.
No, Ford gathered the goal line dropout. That would have been a prime drop goal opportunity. He was banging them over, as we know, in Marseille, but he passes there to Stewart. Courtney Laws on a short ball. That was nice from Sinclair and Laws. And England go over the gain line. There for Mitchell. Ford, he kicks. Goodness me. And you can almost hear the frustration from the crowd here in the Stade de Nice. But England have got the ball back after the ricochet. Ford, centre field. Ben Earl, good carry from the Saracen. Almost up to the 22. Are England biding their time? Out the back, Elliot Daly, well shackled. This is a good Japanese defensive shape. Every time England put it around the back, Chris Ashton, the Japanese have their number. Mitchell kicks, and there is a sigh all around the stadium, and some boos even from the England fans. Nagare finds Lemeki. Lemeki looking for touch, finds it. Japan line out in between the 22 and the 10-metre line.
I don't mind the kicking if it's the right option, but time after time it's the wrong option. And there has to be a realisation in this game right now that if you go past 6 or 7 phases, yeah, it's broken, it's tired. So if you can get your backline set up, which England were again then, give them an opportunity. Let them go through a set play.
There's no way the best teams at this World Cup are doing what we're seeing. They are playing to find an edge, whether that is 6, 7, 8 phases. There's a feel that you're still going forward. You'll find it in a minute. We've got a bird's eye view here, but you can see on the far side, if we can link back up on the far side, we will get through them. But that's the one we're then kicking.
But I can't quite get in my head what are they trying to achieve with that. What's the outcome?
They want to then break the game up more to receive a kick back with everyone all over the place. But what I'm seeing is they've already got everyone all over the place. Just keep it.
They're not recognising. I think that because they must train tirelessly, doing the same thing to create this broken field. They're not realising actually they're getting the broken field a couple of phases before they're going through the kicking strategy. So save yourself all the energy.
Well, England can't get their line out right now, and if that goes to pot, that will be more of a concern, because those are the nuts and bolts areas that England have promised to deliver on. Their scrum and their line out, their maul, their set piece. As Nagare kicks into the English half, Johnny May, who's actually touched the ball in this second half after being quite literally a passenger in the first. 13-9 though to England. They're not playing much rugby, but they do have a 4-point lead. Ludlam loses it. That's going to be a scrum to Japan, so the handling errors are racking up as Chris Ashton points down. What are you seeing there, Rashi?
The Japan, Dylan Riley's come on. I'm not sure he was come on for. He's come on this left wing. But he was the one chasing the Japanese box kick there, and he managed to smash Johnny May back. Yeah, we're just right, Jonesy. We're just seeing Johnny May in not the positions that we want to see him going backwards.
Tremendous position for Japan here. Yeah, I don't know what else they've got in their locker. That they have used a lot of moves from their playbook.
Changes for England, guys. Billy Vunipola, his first appearance since that red card against Ireland in August. Will Stewart's on for Sinclair. Billy Vunipola for Ludlam in a straight swap. Can Billy spark anything?
Yeah, we have to hope so. This is his carrying is his game, and he'll want the ball and he'll want to carry and he'll want to make an impact here. Just back on what Dawes said about the Japan playbook, it's almost NFL stuff. They've got that many plays. Training must have been hard this week, remembering all those plays. I'd have had no chance.
And as Matt Dawson has mentioned, what an attacking platform this could be for Japan, who are only 4 points behind. A try puts the Japanese in the lead. A converted try takes them a few clear as the scrum goes down, and Michael Leach had a hand up as if to say, don't penalise us, it's not our fault. 51 minutes gone in Nice. England with this 4-point advantage. Earlier on in the Premier League, if you're listening to Premier League Sunday, not loads of goals in that, not many tries in this one, and not many goals in the two Premier League matches.
You don't need to talk about them, Chris.
But there was defeat for Everton.
Leave that alone.
Everton beaten. Everton 0, Arsenal 1.
Thank you, yeah, I knew that.
So Matt Dawson's disappointment. Bournemouth, Chelsea goalless.
Head straight, shoulders out.
And earlier in the Rugby World Cup, what a win for Fiji over Australia, blowing Pool C wide open. We'll discuss all of that on the Rugby Union Daily podcast, which will be out on your feed first thing in the morning. And a reminder that Carlos Saint won the Singapore Grand Prix. Check your flag pod out now as Japan set it up in centre field. They're only 25 metres out. Here comes Michael Leach. He may be sensing Another big moment for Japanese rugby. The second row is Cornelsen, 22 for Japan. Nagare back to that man Dylan Riley, who Chris Ashton correctly pointed out is on in the midfield. Penalty Japan, England don't roll. This will take it to a 1-point game. It's bang in front for Japan and their kicker Rukia Matsuda.
It almost seems like Japan are purposely keeping it tight to draw a penalty out of England, because they're not going anywhere. They're just going right to left, one more right. I don't know what they're waiting for, because there's nothing else set up. They're just waiting for England to draw an offside and not rolling away, and they're happy to take the points.
Hey, England are a different side without Tom Curry.
He set the tone last week.
They don't have that presence at the ruck with just Ben Earl. When you're playing Tom Curry, and you go back 4 years when you had Underhill and Curry pretty much taking half of the pitch each, you knew every ruck was going to be competitive, and you get the feeling that Japan have put so much emphasis on their ruck speed. But again, I'll go back to it, they're not looking to break the line, they're not running headlessly into the opposition and getting isolated. They've been very, very clever about their ruck speed.
For 13-12, Japan, Matsuda, he's got it. It's a 1-point game in Nice.
Well, we said that before half-time, first points going to be crucial, and they are. The dander is definitely up for the Japanese. They realise they've got a game plan. I mean, George Ford, step up, a little drop goal, just take the sting out of it.
Taken from the kick-off by Dylan Riley. What will that have done for Japan's confidence? Not to concede in the first 15 minutes of this second half and to score 3 points of their own. Their defence looked really nicely drilled under John Mitchell. A lot of England's attack is being gobbled up. 25 minutes left. It is far nervier an evening than these England fans who came to the Stade de Nice in great voice than they would have expected after that good win against Argentina. Billy Vunipola, first time we've seen Vunipola in this World Cup, and he carries into the heart of the Blossoms defence. Here's Courtney Laws, who will never stop working. Halfway line just over. Japan are on that ball looking for a turnover. They've not got it. Mitchell forward inside to Johnny May. Good tackle coming in. Cornelsen saved the day. But there for England, who are just potentially starting to probe. Bit of shape forward. Daly, that's a nice ball to Stewart. Stewart to Ben Earl down the right touchline. England's best attack all World Cup practically. And Earl goes to within 12. Mitchell's there just in time. Atoje, the scrum capless Atoje, drives to within 12. Have England got a killer instinct, a killer blow? No, they knock on. Stewart overran it. It hit Marler's head. Courtney Laws sensibly dots it down just in case it hit a couple of heads and wasn't a knock on. It's a slim chance this is going to be a try. Yeah. Otherwise, though, England have coughed up another handling error.
Initially, the referee... initially the referee didn't mind it. I think the referee has said in his mind has gone play on and wave play on. We're going to see the replay. It may have hit someone's shoulder.
Ensuring that the pass doesn't go forward.
Hang on, we can't be giving these.
Well, what a way to score a try that would be. It hit two England players. Stewart lost it, then Marler.
Yeah.
So
we're ready for a review.
Joy Neville is the TMO.
Use your first angle.
And she's showing us the pictures now. Ford, flat was Stewart.
That's fast, is fine.
Yeah. Oh, he's surely knocked on, is he? Oh. It then hits Marler's head. I mean, this is...
No, but it's come off Will Stewart's hands, isn't it?
If that's given, that would be a surprise.
Just this angle, please, now. Right.
Ford flat to Stewart.
Backwards, it travels back.
Well, it's gone.
Players are onside.
He's going to give the try here. This is going to be a remarkable England try. Faster call fortuitous, but it will matter not. Listening to the ref.
Right,
try scored. You won't see many like that. Courtney Laws almost dotted it down apologetically. Japan can't believe it. Nick Amashikeli shrugs his shoulders as if to say, I'm sorry about it. But Courtney Laws has scored for England after the ball bounced off Stewart's shoulder and Marler's head. And England get a try that will calm a lot of nerves around Nice.
Maybe that's what we've been going wrong, Dawes. Header it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that was maybe they practiced that. This was this new layer of attack that they were bringing to us at the weekend. Let's not forget that came off a beautiful little left to right move from England. down that right-hand side, getting Ben Earl on the charge. And Japan were at 6s and 7s. They were all over the place. And I know that, okay, that was a little bit fortuitous, but a pace and intensity and accuracy from England that we've yet to see until that moment. So, yeah, bodes well for the next 25.
Yeah, it was great attack, but then the actual process of scoring was pretty incredible. But it's a try for England off Joe Marler's head. A nice kind of cushioned header for Marler to the back post where Courtney Laws prods it home for 1-0. England now lead by 20 points to 12. Ford threw over the kick from bang in front. England have a buffer. So right, Chris Ashton and Matt Dawson, what do you want from England as we edge towards the hour with this 8-point lead?
I think we've approached this half in the right way. It's just the final pass isn't sticking and we're headering it. I think that's where we're going wrong, or maybe we're wrong. We just like to see a bit more clinical and almost walking a try on the edge because it's there for us.
Well, Japan with a little kick through. That might work out. No, Johnny May is back and he finds Stewart. And Stewart's away down the touchline. Much better this from England suddenly. Mitchell gets to the ruck. Can England spread it? Ford into centre field. Jamie George, he's got a Toji on his shoulder. He sets it up the Saracen. There are numbers to the left. Chris Ashton wants it moved. Ben Earl, that's a good carry, Earl. Marler's on his shoulder. It's been lost though. The ball is slippy, but England just can't resource it. And the game is maybe breaking up, and this could suit Japan. Who else is off but Matsushima? Over halfway. What footwork from Matsushima? Can he get it away? It's loose. It's there for the number 12, Nakamura. Now they carry through replacement prop Craig Miller. Centre field for Japan. Tired bodies out there. Flicked to the right by Bakatava. Ball has gone to ground, but Japan come away with it again. Asada sets it up. There for Nagara, he flips it up to Ivalu. 10-metre line Japan, who trail by 12. Riley now, great step, Dylan Riley, he's sewn up Marler, and he's got into the 22, he'd love a Shakli on his shoulder. He finds Lemeki, into the 22, go this inventive Japanese attack, then they knock it on, and you can feel the whole of the ground, or especially those wearing red and white, just cry out in frustration. Our colleagues, Japanese broadcasters to our left, have their hands on their head. What an attack. Great rugby in Nice. But Japan knock on as they were really behind England.
They need the water break both sides there after that. They need a rest. Tremendous attack from both sides. From that kick from Freddie Stewart. Potentially, Jamie George could have linked to Maro Toji, who would have been under the sticks on the charge. But then, in a blink, we've had 60 minutes of Japan really wanting to play, and it's just opening up right into the style, the method, the practice, the training of that's how Japan want to play.
We're seeing some bodies flagging now. Maro couldn't even get back to get the defensive line. He was 3 plays further on. He was still struggling to get back. And some of the Japan backs, Dylan Riley, Matsushima, sidestepping people for fun. And then once again, the same as both teams, with just those last 2 phases that would get you a try, with just seeing the balls filled.
How much is it bad skill execution, guys? How much is the conditions? You know, it's sweaty here. The ball is going to feel like a bar of soap.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing an impact of that. It's humid, it's hot, the ball's wet, and when you're tired, especially since Simon of so many phases like we've just seen, if the ball is the pass is slightly off, forwards are struggling to catch it.
Yeah, the brains are going to win this. The players that use their noggin in the last 20 minutes are going to win the game, because there are going to be opportunities. Just seeing Alex Mitchell coming off, Ben Young's coming on.
Right time?
I think so. And as I say, that it needs now some clarity. I think Mitch has played well in that last sort of 45 minutes or so, but it's going to need clarity now.
So are England in kind of shut up shop mode? Because
no, surely not.
You've got Marcus Smith on the bench that could open it up if they wanted, but do you think they just want to try and protect these 8 points and get out of here alive?
No, I'm hoping that Ben Youngs has watched this game from the sideline and sees opportunity. I've seen him come off in this situation, come onto games, and and speed the game up, because he's been watching it. He'll know where the space is and he'll want to try and get it. Like, we can't rest on we've seen how dangerous Japan are there. One try and they're right back in it.
Yeah, and I think there are brilliant opportunities for England when they're turning over Japan, and there are going to be chances to turn them over. So that sort of clinical mindset of, right, someone like a Ben Youngs getting to the ball quickly. He's seen that those little chip overs are no good. Don't need to be doing it. Japan have got the backfield covered. It is on for the likes of Marchand, Johnny May coming into his own a little bit more, Elliot Daly, broken field players.
Almost an hour gone here as Youngs feeds Ford, and he sends a nice kick, as he always does, George Ford, up to halfway, and it will be a Japanese liner. Right, what is happening at the Davis Cup? It's crunch time, Great Britain and France. Russell Fuller.
To say the least, Great Britain on the Dan Evans serve have just saved 3 match points. He's recovered from love 40 down at 4-5 in the deciding set of the doubles against France. So 5 games all. The winner of this set wins the tie and qualifies for the Davis Cup finals knockout stage in November.
Thanks very much, Russell. Right, on a knife edge in the Davis Cup. I wouldn't quite call it a knife edge here, but it's not far off. England 20, Japan 12. And if Japan score next, that will do wonders for their confidence. England have to be thinking now. The leaders on the pitch, Chris Ashton, have to be thinking, right, 8 points. If that becomes 11 or more, then this game is all but done.
Yeah, I think Steve will be waiting for another 3 points or so to get the bench on.
Crooked throw from Japan. England have the scrum on halfway.
I mean, I'd like to see Marcus Smith brought on right now. It's opening up. It's perfect for him.
You bring him on at 15?
Yep.
Yeah. I would not be scared of that at all. I like the Chris. It's a very valid point, and just give me another 3 points, please. Let's just make it. Yeah, let's make it 11. So you don't want anything stupid happening, a bounce of a ball or a missed tackle, and all of a sudden it's a 1 point game. And then make those substitutions and give people some World Cup time.
Into the final quarter. This game has kind of veered from being pretty ropey, but also pretty compelling and captivating. There's been some great rugby, but it's been in bursts, and then inevitably one of the teams, or both the teams have made handling errors. Japan will rue their lack of clinical edge. It can still come, but with Swing Low Sweet Chariot being sung around the stadium, if England can score next, they'll go a long way towards winning the game. They're going to get a penalty. No, the referee put his whistles to his lips. Joe Marchand, that's a good carry. England are starting to make some inroads against this Japanese defence. Ben Youngs goes on the fringes with a snipe. Ben Earl, tape job round his forehead, like a Terry Butcher and Paul Ince back in the day. There for Youngs, finds Ford. Billy Vanapola on the spin. Where are England? In between the 22 and the halfway line. Ford to Alangi, tries to work his way out of a couple of tackles. Good counter ruck from Japan. They're going to turn this ball over, and they've got it. England have to be careful, but it's come back on the England side. Good strength, Ben Youngs there, Rashi.
Yeah, he turned the ball over. That must be a first for Ben Youngs.
Out the back from Atoje. Ford now, some space for Daly. They've got numbers here. He kicks, and it goes out of play. And Daly trots back to his wing and sort of says sorry to George Ford, but that is a classic example of when England did have numbers, and if you're going to kick Matt Dawson, as you've been saying all night, it's got to be slightly better than that.
Well, and again, it's just very lateral. At the moment, England are, I'll nick a phrase from Paul Grayson here, they're creating quite a few underlaps, where they'll switch from one side to the other, but there'll be only 3 England players and 4 Japanese players, and it's going to the 3 England players, and they're sort of running themselves into corridors that are already taken. I'm going back to it, the clarity of thought. They don't need to be headless.
Well, that's why they're kicking, because they're getting stuck into the Japanese line-out, and they have the ball, England, and Ellis Genge's on as a replacement, and Youngs finds Ford, who kicks for Marchand. Will Joe Marchand get the bounce? That was beautifully done by Lemecki, who then chips for himself, and he gives it back to Ford, who gives a little reverse pass to Johnny May as the game continues to open up in this second half. Youngs to the right, Genge on the carry. He is completely isolated, but he does really well to stay big in contact. There for Youngs, out to Ford. He's got Marchand. George Ford goes alone. He's almost up to the line. 5 metres short. Will Stewart knocks it on. And that has just been the story of the game. Every time, both teams, but particularly England, do something really well, and that was good. They make a handling error to cede possession and give the ball back to Japan.
I thought Ford has done such a great job down the short side there. He's had the double pump of the ball. They've fallen for the dummy, but I then thought he was going to give it to Marchant, who would have strolled in. Oh my goodness!
It was Courtney. I think Courtney was just too far back. He couldn't get up to speed with him. That's what we're missing, that extra.
Yeah, you see that little double pump and then give it to Joe Marchant on the outside. He's in. Oh my goodness me! But again, there's a lot to be excited about from England's perspective. It's a little bit like you can go back to when England were down to 14 men with Charlie Ewels went off at Twickenham, and all of a sudden you saw this England team go whoosh, right, here we go, or against Ireland in Dublin, or even moments last weekend where the adversity was like, we have to go out and play, and for some reason England are rising to the challenge here against Japan. I want to see England do this all the time.
Yeah, someone that's made an impact off the bench is Ellis Genge. He's had 3 carries and he's carried beyond the gain line every 4 or 5 metres, and the difference that can make to your attack is so dramatic. It opens up doors for George Ford when he's trying to fish players out in defence. He's had an impact, but that's the kind of thing we needed from the start, not 60 minutes in.
17 minutes to go on 5 Live, your World Cup station, on your radio, digital, DAB, online and on BBC Sounds. Who scores next? If it's England, they are practically home and dry, and even better from their point of view, will be all but in the World Cup quarter-finals, with Chile to come next week and then a gap of a fortnight until Samoa. If England were to beat the 2 highest ranked teams in the pool, or the 2 most dangerous teams in the pool in Argentina and Japan, they would go a long way towards booking a place at the quarters in Marseille. However, means the victories will have come. And now, Matt Dawson, it's about England's scrum, which has got renewed energy with those props on. Stewart and Genge trying to do a number on Japan, who are putting into the line out 5 metres from their own line.
Yeah, big focus here. You can sense Ben Earl shouting and screaming. Jamie George having a word with the referee as well to say that this is one to target. You've got nothing to lose. If you do give a penalty away, so what? They can clear the lines. Go on, go and attack it. Put Japan under immense pressure. So difficult to get out of this bottom left-hand corner.
You sense the crowd all around us feel this game is entering crunch time. As Japan feed the scrum, it's loose, it is sloppy for Japan. Riley has to tidy up. Tuolangi's on his case and he bundles him dead. It's going to be a 5-metre scrum to England and a real opportunity to put this game away.
Yeah, exactly what Dawes said. Just put pressure on. Ball came spilling out at the back. And look, we've got advantage from it now. 5-metre scrum. Prime opposition here. Dawes.
Yeah, get stuck in.
Billy off the back or Manu. Got options.
There's an element. We don't know what the feeling is on the ground with the referee and how that. But sometimes you just want parity now. Sometimes, if it is risky, I don't know, because you might be thinking of the turf and is it going to. Sometimes it's just about parity to then give a little left or a right nudge up for a Billy to go, right, whoosh, away we go, let's have some action. Because if you do try and battle and fight it, you never know, the referee might well turn and give a penalty against you. There's no point, there's just no risk in it.
I think Billy's got to pick this up and go. She's got Billy Vunipola written all over it.
Left or right? Come on, you've played with him too many times. You know him inside.
I think he goes short side.
Johnny May has come off his wing to communicate with George Ford. And apart from May, the rest of the England backline is left. The scrum is 15 metres in, maybe a metre or 2 more than that. But just 5 metres out from the Japanese line. What an opportunity for England, who lead by 8. A score could put this game to bed. The scrum is good, they've got advantage. Can they use it? Young's, or they're going to get penalised again, Japan. George Ford goes crossfield looking for Stewart. What a kick! Stewart scores! Brilliant try, England! Gorgeous from George Ford with the left boot. Both boots magic at this World Cup. His right in Marseille, his left foot here. And Stewart has taken it brilliantly to score, and that should be enough for England now.
Utter class from George Ford. There was mayhem going there. Japan were all over the show, offside by about 10 yards. Didn't matter. George Ford just
off the left
nonchalantly does the old running drop kick with the left boot, pings beautifully.
Great decision from England as well to put Freddie Stewart on the wing, just to catch those kicks and field that. That's his speciality. So if there's anyone you want out there, it's Freddie.
Massive moment in this game, big moment in England's World Cup. They now lead by 25 points to 12, and as exciting and as adventurous as Japan have been, they've got a lot to come back to here. The gap is 13. This to take it out to 15 and take England 3 scores clear. He did it with his left boot just now for the try. Can he do it with his right, George Ford, from literally on the touchline? Oh, what a kick. What a kick. That would have gone through posts in the middle of the post. That could not have bisected them anymore. Brilliant from George Ford. What a play with the kick and the conversion, and England's lead now is a very healthy one at 27 points to 12.
Yeah, all that forward dominance in the first half, the driving mauls, sucking the energy out of Japan to then unleash at the right time this exciting England backline. We've seen it, they've spoken about it. It took a while, but it's been worth the view.
And Stewart, who scored the try, is 8th for England on his 28th cap for his country. He's been a mainstay since breaking into the side 2 years ago, and he used his height and that aerial ability of his to dot down in the corner. England have more than a foothold in the game. 27 points to 12, 12 minutes left, and this, I suppose, Chris Ashton, is when you really like the look of Ben Youngs at number 9, because he clears nicely past halfway. He'll just control the tempo for the remaining 10.
Yeah, he's our most capped men's player. Like, there can't be any more experience in there. He's done really well. We're seeing Marcus now on the touchline, which is definitely the right call to get him on and just use this space in this tired Japan side to his advantage. Get him in at 15 and let us open him up and get some game time.
Japan have lost it at the line out. It's on England's side. Young's digging for the ball, so it will be an England scrum. And you can see from the body language of the England forwards, Matt Dawson, they know it is pretty much job done here. 27-12, edging towards the final 10.
It's a nice feeling as we hear cheers for Marcus Smith. Ollie Lawrence coming on as well. Yeah, it's so good for the confidence. It's just building from last week, a real grind of a game last week with George Ford kicking all of those points, to today being challenged. And rightly challenged. There were moments where if Japan had scored a try, very different dynamic, but England's defence, scramble defence, has been superb. And when they have that mindset to attack, Ashi, I love it. It's like it's just, you can see them all feeding off one another's energy with that.
Yeah, it goes back to what we mentioned first half. You don't know, this kicking has been relentless first half. It is a clear plan to try and get Japan knocked off their feet, and then we open up. The frustration is that in the first half we were seeing chances and not taking them. Thankfully now we are putting them away. I mean, George Ford has been outstanding again, just fishing people out in the line, waiting for people to come off him.
Is it any good? Is it good enough to be challenging the South Africans and France? I mean, that's the question. The island,
definitely not right now. And I do think it's quite glaringly obvious that we're missing that second ball player that we need to put people in the right place in attack, where they want them, how we can find shape better. Something that we're lacking.
Because Japan have telegraphed a lot of England's attacking play, haven't they? Especially when Daly's come off his wing from forward to pass. Right, 70 minutes gone. Let's check back in with Russell, the Davis Cup. Russell.
Great Britain saved 3 match points at 4-5, and thanks to a Neil Skupski ace, saved another match point at 5-6. It's a tie-break. This tie-break will decide whether Great Britain or France go on to the next stage of the Davis Cup finals.
Down to the wire at the Davis Cup. That's over on the iPlayer. As England have the scrum halfway, use it about 5 times, the referee tells Billy Vanapola, who eventually obliges. Shoveled on by Youngs, Ford kicks, and that's easy for Lemeki, who'll chip for himself. And where's that going to end up? Was in the hands of Ben Youngs, who goes over the 10-metre line. Slowing it down is Ben Earl, who will pop it to Billy Vanapola. 27 points to 12. England have a handsome lead. They've scored 3 tries. It's again not been pretty, but it was 27-10 against Argentina. It was 27-12 here. The scoreboard is convincing as Youngs kicks into the Nice night sky. Lemecki comes forward, he loses it. This will sit up for Ben Earl, and that's a good pass. And now Marcus Smith can attack, and he sends it to Ford. There might be numbers here. Ford out to Lawrence. Lawrence should be able to skin the Japanese forwards. Gets it out to Daly. Daly inside to Marchant. Smith is tracking. That's really good from England. Good power, Marcus Smith. Good offload, Marcus Smith. Ollie Lawrence, and they've got numbers to the right against the flagging Japanese defence. Daly out the back from Martin. Ford to Smith. They can walk in, and he's got to give that Marcus Smith. There were numbers to the right, all forwards admittedly. Centre field for England, Youngs, George Ford, Ollie Lawrence with a dummy. England playing some decent rugby in this second half. Will Stewart, he sets it up just short of the 22. Will England continue to play, or will Youngs go to the boot? He passes to Ford, Ford kicks for Smith, back to Daly. Daly wings it to Ben Earl, his Saracens teammate. Good break, Ben Earl, he gives it to Johnny May, a little bit in front of May. He had to dive forward like he was in the gully, but he sets it up. There for Ben Youngs. George Martin, short ball, good carry, Ellis Genge. Way better from England now against the tiring Japanese. 27-12. Ben Youngs, short ball, Jamie George up to the line, short of the line. England couldn't be much closer. Can they show the composure they need? Genge is to the right. Billy Vanapola's there. So too Stewart. Stewart bundles up to the line. Can England get some quick ball? Genge is in there now. Ollie Chesham, a metre short. Chesham up to the line. The forwards are sticking it up to Jumper with 7 minutes to go. Jamie George, he goes himself to the left. When will the backs call for red, or will they keep going through the forwards? Martin peels and spins out the tackle. Inches shorter England as they look for their 4th try. Genge, Ellis Genge up to the line, a metre short. Itoje left it. Here's Ben Youngs. He went to go right, but it's slow. He goes left. They drive on once more, the English forwards. They've given a penalty away. They go off their feet. They need to convert there, but Japan, brave to the last, keep England out, and only 1 or 2 of the Japanese defenders has the energy to clap. But England aren't able to score that 4th try. It stays at 27 points to 12. Matt Dawson.
Oh, George Ford has got to be absolutely furious there. They've managed to coordinate themselves to have half an overlap round to the left, maybe a 4-on-3 or a 4-on-3.5 with a cover. So frustrating. I mean, I'm frustrated as a scrum half, thinking when the ball's not coming back from the forwards. Goodness only knows what a winger's thinking.
The positive, until we got to within 5 metres, well, Marcus Smith and George Ford working together. Marcus, I can see him pulling forwards where he wants them, putting them in position. He had about 6 touches within that little piece of play because we had the second ball player option. It's just when we get to 5 metres from the line, have we got some going right and then picking up left? We look really disorganised when we're 5 metres out.
Well, Jamie George is coming off. I mean, there's so much pressure on Jamie George, a hooker, who's played 74 minutes as Japan attack. Matsuda, oh, that's loose. It's picked up by Daly. It's all going England's way now. Nice hands, marching out to Marcus Smith. Smith infield to Ben Earl. He's looked lively, hasn't he, Marcus Smith? Someone's got to play 9 there. There's a clear counteract charge for Japan, but Theo Dan comes in and he passes to George Martin. Can England end with a final flourish? No, it's knocked on just as I said that by Ellis Genge, and with 5 minutes to go it will be a scrum to Japan, bang in centre field. The thoughts of Chris Ashton and Matt Dawson.
Yes, it makes such a difference for any team to have those 2 ball carriers, and particularly of the vision of George Ford and Marcus Smith. From anybody who's playing in the number 9 position, I mean, it could be a forward playing in the number 9 position. If you're getting the commentary and the view of where the game is and where the opposition are, where you can move from left, from right, from George Ford, from Marcus Smith, it completely revolutionises the way that you can play. So it's an interesting.
We look so much better in attack with Marcus running there, don't we?
At 15 though.
Yeah.
I agree. Is that Is that potentially a call?
Well, your choice is either a playmaker in the midfield or at 15, isn't it? And England will have to probably settle on one of them, and with Owen Farrell coming back available, that's a big call for Steve Borthwick as Japan win the free kick. Riley bustles up to the halfway line there for the replacement 9, Saito, who has come on for the ever-excellent Nagare. Japan look beaten, they are beaten. England 27, Japan 12. And for all that Japan have thrown at England, Kevin Sinfield will be pretty happy to, at the moment, keep Japan tryless. And given Argentina only nabbed one in consolation last week, England's defence has returned some pretty decent results so far in this World Cup.
Stay, Japan in front, stay.
Japan go cross-field. This should be bouncing out of play, and it does. Marcus Smith left it, and it will be a line out to England just below us here, actually, round about the halfway line.
Yeah, that's probably maybe a risk with having Marcus at 50. It's not his natural position. If Freddie was back there, he would have been under it for sure, catching it clean, and we got away with a lucky bounce and it went out. That's going to be an area that when Marcus comes on, just has to be a bit sharper on. But Japan, I mean, it's not for lack of trying, is it? They are throwing everything they can. They're non-stop attack and efficient rucks. They've just not had some breaks today.
Yeah, it's. I don't think we can ask. I'm not sure we can ask any more from England over the last 2 games. From where they were coming into this World Cup, I'm not sure it could have got any better. I don't know. We can pick holes in it and say in the first half some of the kicking was a little bit.
You're saying that because you had low expectations, right?
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't expecting England to be absolutely thrashing Argentina or Japan. Argentina were favourites. They got through that with 4-2 men. Tonight, the first half, okay, 13-9 at half-time. England have been supreme, and Japan have thrown the kitchen sink at England. And England have defended well, not conceded any tries yet, and have scored plenty themselves.
Theo Dan throws, well taken by clubmate Itoje as the clock winds down. England 27, Japan 12. 77 minutes now gone. That's a good English maul, and
we need a try here, Jonesy.
The thing is, as we'll chat about on the Rugby Union Daily, it's a slightly perplexing performance to pick apart. A lot's gone wrong, but things have also gone right, especially in the second half. And then Japan knock on, and England will have the scrum, and a real chance now with a scrum inside the Japanese half to end with a flourish and to give all these England fans something to really enjoy, as well as the 27-12 scoreline.
I can't understand the thinking there that with 3-4 minutes left, we need a try, and they've gone to the box kick.
You say England need a try because of the 4-try bonus, but I mean, bonus points shouldn't come into it though. If England are beating Argentina and Japan, they're Samoa away from topping the group. Bonus points or no bonus points.
I think it's the mindset for me, just wanting to score. If I was out there now, I'd be desperate. We've got 4 minutes, the game's won. Why would we not want to go and score a really good try and take it into next week instead of box kicking?
And then give your team confidence to be able to play.
Look at the other teams that are playing at the moment. Look at Fiji. The way that they play.
Advantage England.
England have got an advantage at the scrum. The replacements up front are doing a number on Japan. And I imagine England will go into the corner. 78 minutes gone.
We're talking about Ireland have played against 2 sides and dealt with it, but it creates the aura. It creates a momentum. All of a sudden, Ashley's talking, which is good, kicking for the corner, but if all of a sudden England are putting teams away, then people just, sit up a little bit, and have got to do a bit more homework on England during the week and spend more time on England than they do on themselves. There's a knock-on effect within this World Cup. So every performance is really important.
Especially if you're back 3, this is like prime time. I used to be going mental at this time because people are like, just calm down, the game's won. I'm like, no, this is where I want to get tries. This is where you want to score. Get the ball in your hands and play.
Well, you want the team to get tries as well.
Yeah,
you and the team, yeah. As Dan throws.
It was a winger. He wanted tries.
Dan throws. England just about win it at the line out, and they're setting them all up. Final minute. England are going in almost for a 12 or 13 man maul. They've obviously got the message the back, so this one's well set. So if this maul doesn't work, they've got nothing outside, just Ford and Smith, and then acres of space to Daly on the left touchline. Earl drives on, might be slightly isolated. Smith's gone into play at scrum half. They need the forwards to fold now as Martin sets it up. Final minute on 5 Live in Nice. 27-12. Good carry, Theo down right through the Japan defence. Ben Youngs digs for it. He goes to the left, and Billy Vanapola. Ford now is going to peel to the right. He's got Smith with him. Here is Marcus Smith. Can he get round? Yes, he can. He finds Johnny May. May's inside, and he's a metre or two short. Decent from England. Good carry, Theo Dan. Can he stay big enough to get some support? Yes, he can. Youngs has it. There are numbers for England. Surely they can execute here. Genge, Ford, Ollie Lawrence. Can he offload? Someone's under the post if he can. Youngs out to Joe Marchant. Good try, England. That's the way to finish. The 4th try. It's Joe Marchant. And England have stormed clear in Nice.
Just great work from Marcus Smith at the back. Finding an angle, using the space and his speed on the ball to get outside the defender, creates the half break for Johnny May up the side. Something that we have definitely been missing in attack. So it's great to see him short and us to finish the try, Dawson. Finish the try. Went through phases and we got the try.
Yeah, pleased, really pleased for this England squad. They've spoken about it a lot this week. And second half, they've delivered and some. And they've answered our question there. Are you going to play to the death? Do you want to score the tries? Yes, they do. They want to drive the line out. Ben Earl didn't quite get the memo about driving the line out, went out on his own, but quick recycling ball. George Ford yet again picking the right person.
He kicks the goal, and England have won handsomely here. 4 tries, Ludlam, Laws, Stewart, and with the last player of the game, Marchant, as England really came to life after half-time. 34-12, and after beating Argentina 27-10 last weekend in Marseille, given the build-up, given the turmoil coming into it, Matt Dawson and Chris Ashton, it's 2 from 2, and it's very much job done for England, who are all but in the quarterfinals now.
Yeah, it is just good to see us scoring tries, 3 in the second half. Good way to finish. It does seem as though the ploy was to really wear them down in the first half with this kicking tactic, however frustrating it might be. But that was definitely the plan, to come out second half and just turned it on, if you like, looking to attack more. George Ford pulling the strings, had another great game. Dorse just fishing people out. If we can just get a few more people in and around him, like Marcus, just feeling the game a little bit better, we will be dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot to be really positive and excited about that performance. I love the way that England came out in the second half and really upped the tempo. I reiterate the Japanese had opportunities today, they really did, and there were a couple of chances when maybe England were 4 points ahead, that if Japan had scored, potentially you go into a very different mindset into this game. But England defended brilliantly, really aggressive, minimal penalties, only 6 penalties conceded, only 16 tackles missed, only 84 tackles made. It's an efficient performance from England, where yes, they're going to be aerobically tired, but I think they've looked after themselves really well there, Ashley, and they can go into their camp. A few players now can come in and play against Chile. Let's see what they do with a selection against Samoa, but it does set up England beautifully for the rest of the group in the quarter-final.
Yeah, great performance. I don't know if it leaves more questions than answers with this Marcus Smith coming off the bench and doing that. Is it a cameo appearance when the game was done? Is that the way to look at it? He had a free rein to come on and just play the role he wants, feeling his way into attack? Or is it something that we could actually start to use? Definitely in the next 2 weeks we've got an opportunity to use that and just see how we get on with it. There's no reason why we shouldn't.
Well, George Ford for the second week in a row has won player of the match. That left foot kick to Stewart really sealed the win for England. Brilliant skill from Ford, and England are 2 from 2. Sonia, 34-12 in the end. Very convincing from Steve Borthwick's men.
Yeah, and the quarterfinals sort of start to hove into view for England, don't they? We'll be back to discuss the more questions and answers, I think, that Chris Ashton referred to. But let's go straight to the tennis, because if that match got tense at times, it's been tense in Manchester. Russell Fuller.
What an extraordinary finish, but Great Britain have won and they're into the quarter-finals of the Davis Cup, the knockout stages that will take place in Malaga in November. They have saved 4 match points, Dan Evans and Neil Skupski, to beat Nicolas Mahut and Edouard Roger Vasselin in the all-important and deciding doubles. They've come from behind to win a third set tiebreak. They were 4-2 down. They've won it by 8 points to 6. 2 hours and 48 minutes on court, and Dan Evans absolutely the man of the day in the Davis Cup. He wins a singles in 3 sets in just over 2 hours, so that's nearly 5 hours on court, having paired up with Neil Skupski to win the doubles, having saved 4 match points. Great Britain march on into the quarter-finals of the knockout stages of the Davis Cup in Malaga in November.
Thanks very much, Russell. Good news for British tennis, that. England winning that match, 34 points to 12 against Japan in Nice. Mo Hunt's still here, Matt Dawson, Chris Ashton and correspondent Chris Jones. I want to start just going through it. There's a bit of a curate's egg of a match, that. Let's just try and draw up a few positives and negatives of that performance for England. I'm going to start it off, Matt Dawson, with saying one of the positives was an assist from Marla's Mohawk for that try. What's the main positive for you?
I think it was a more complete performance in defence and attack. I know they were determined to score tries, and there was probably some frustration within the back line about getting in a bit more space and showing that adventure. But other than a few weird calls in the first half and decisions, moments in the first half, that's as a complete performance that I've seen from England probably in Borthwick's tenure. Particularly that second half, England very dominant, challenged the opposition in trying conditions, wanted to go at it again and again. You know, they showed a lot of intent. Now, I want that sort of to be the benchmark for how England play. We've constantly been questioning England about what is their style. Well, if that's England's style for that last 40 minutes, then I think they're going to do very well and challenge to get in that quarter. Well, obviously they'll be in the quarters. They'll challenge for the semi-final, and who knows?
Yeah, I think for me, you hit the nail on the head as well with the intent to play, like that intent to attack. That was my definitely biggest positive out of that whole game, is how they attacked that second 40, just coming out, keeping hands on ball, getting through phases and not kicking every single opportunity away. I think that's how I want to see England play in much more.
Ashi?
Yes, I think that the bench coming on too had a real impact in attack. Ellis, Billy Vunipola, Ole Lawrence and Marcus Smith. Billy Vunipola looks so comfortable on the ball that we cannot take that for granted, that he is willing to just carry when not everyone else is necessarily wanting to. He'll just put his hand up time after time, and he might not make any metres, and one time he might make 5 metres, but can't tell you the difference that makes to your team when you know you've got someone like Ellis, like Billy, who'll keep turning up and carrying hard. It will eventually give you inroads in attack, and it'll just provide a bit more space for other people. So those lads coming on, and then Marcus doing his style of player at the back of those two doing the hard yards, was just great to see second half, and it kind of gets us away from the frustration of the first half, just seeing the lads score tries and play some rugby. I'm sure they'll say that was all part of the plan. We'll wear Japan down, we'll kick them into the corners and make them force 2 errors, and they did eventually. So I think some of our frustration is gone from the second half, that's for sure.
Yeah, try for Freddie Stewart. It was a lovely pinpoint kick, wasn't it, across field from George Ford, who was player of the match for the second week in a row. We can hear from him now.
George, congratulations. It's 2 man of the match performances in 2 weeks. You must be really happy with how your tournament's gone.
No, look, we're just really happy with another win tonight. We knew it was going to be a tough game like that. They're a great team, Japan. They challenge you in different ways. We knew it was going to be probably that 3rd or 4th quarter where we could potentially pull away a little bit, but just over the moon to get another win. Some improvements tonight, some things to get better at still.
And what did you make of the performance? It was a really important bonus point win tonight.
Yeah, it was. It was probably not the prettiest watching it. Look, it's really hard to play with the ball in these conditions. These late kickoffs, it's dead greasy, so you got to find different ways to break a team down, and we got there in the end.
Actually, there were so many handling errors. George Ford's just alluded to it there. How difficult is it? I mean, is this a daft question, to catch a ball when it's sweaty conditions?
I mean, do England need to catch it, or they just head it? If you're Joe Marler, you just knock it out. And I say that I'm watching Joe Marler do, the compulsory lap of honour after winning a game for England, and he keeps gesticulating, like heading a cross into the goal to all the fans.
It's going to become a GIF, you know that, right?
It is tricky out there. I mean, we've seen it in all the games. It is very hot and sweaty, like it was in the early stages in Japan 4 years ago, and it makes it very difficult for everyone. There are certain moments, particularly when it goes through lots of phases and the ball is like coming out of a driving maul where it's been next to a really sweaty shirt, and then you're expected to go quick hands. It's really tricky. Whereas, off the top of the line out, nice dry ball, first 2 or 3 phases the ball's fine, and then it gets really sweaty. So I know that sounds ridiculous, but you have to sort of think about that on the hoof. So there are certain passages of play and certain passes that you can't do at certain times, and some you can. It's the same for everyone, mind you, but all the sides at the top of the tree, your France, your South Africa, your Ireland, it doesn't seem to bother them. Well, so it's not an excuse. There can't be any excuses.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now, look, talking of George Ford, the question that's coming down the track is, what do England now do, given that Owen Farrell is going to be available for the next game? We've seen Marcus Smith come on this evening and have an impact. So I want to understand what you do. Mo, for you, do you leave Ford there and Farrell's on the bench, or do you bring Ford? Do you go Ford Farrell, or do you not pick? What do you do?
I go Ford Farrell. I think you've named him captain. You heard George Ford speak about him, the impact that he has around the boys, around the pitch. You see it. He galvanises a team. The way that he leads on pitch, the way that he communicates defensively, everything like that. He really does drive that England team forward. And for me, you want your captain on the pitch. So I definitely would pick him. I think Marcus Smith's made a massive impact today. I don't think you can start him over Stewart because of how England are going after the aerial, the kicking game, and the massive impact that he has in that, managing that backfield, everything like that. So, yeah, for me, I'd go Ford Farrell. I don't think you can drop Ford. I think he's been brilliant. OK, so it's Ford Farrell from Mo. Dawes, what about you?
I'm sorry, I can't agree with that. I don't think Farrell's good enough to get in the team at the moment. Let's see how he goes over the next couple of weeks. I certainly wouldn't be putting Marcus Smith as a starter at 15. There is nothing wrong with bringing Marcus Smith up with 20, 30, 40 minutes to go if you know that you need to change the game up. Let's go through history, how many times substitutes have been really, really important in big games. And the off-field dynamic of how great Owen Farrell is, I've heard it for years and years and years. I just haven't seen it on the pitch. And I'm not at training. I don't know what goes on. It might be absolutely amazing. But what I do see, and what I see up close and what I analyse, is how he plays for England. And I don't see him going into that back line as a starting back line. I don't see him bringing anything that isn't already there.